Titans, go! Hey, hey, Wolfpack, we're back with another surprise tier list stream. And this time we're back in the realm of Batman, with his first ever child, Dick Grayson. We're gonna be talking about all the dicks. The big dicks, the little dicks, the good dicks, the bad dicks. It's all about Dick, cause you can never get enough Dick. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about his first child, the first member of the Bat family, Dick Grayson, aka Robin, aka Nightwing, aka Detective Grayson. Yeah, got every adaptation of Dick Grayson here. Yes, we are talking about Batman's sidekick. This is Dick Grayson, all his adaptations in cartoons, video games, and even Legos. Every interpretation of Dick Grayson so far is on this tier list, and I will be ranking them all from top best to bottom Dick. Alright, making sure everything's working. Yeah, sorry. This tier list was kind of unexpected. I was hoping to do the Hasman Hotel ranking, but then decided, some people might not be around to watch it on today, so I decided to do another DC tier list. Sorry I could not find a good Penguin tier list yet. I might have to make one, but that's also going to take a lot of time. I decided to do one before Christmas season comes around, so we're going to be talking about Dick Grayson. Yep, going to be talking about the other bird boy of Batman, Nightwing / Robin. Got every version of Dick from the old serials all the way to the current generation. Hey Cat, hey Light Jones, glad you can make it. Making sure everything's working here. Looks like my mic is good. Yep, I'll be talking about every interpretation of Dick Grayson, one of Batman's best sidekicks, from who's top Dick to bottom Dick. So I'll go over all the tier list slots if this is your first tier list ever, or for those of you who don't know the rules. Okay, I'll be ranking every interpretation of the Bird Boy from who's the best to who's rock bottom, and I gave them all their own unique slots because these character tier lists are just that fun. Up top, we have Flying Grayson. These ones are S tier, the best of the best, the greatest dicks to love, the dicks you all enjoy, the greatest interpretations of this character, basically. They are a Flying Grayson. Then we have Slick Sidekick. These ones are A tier. Pretty good, pretty slick. Good, not great. Might have a nitpick or two here or there. They were almost perfect, basically, but I thought they were alright. I'm gonna put them on to A tier. These are definitely good, but could be much, much better. Still, a slick sidekick. Then, this is the mid-tier Bat Boy. These ones are okay. The alright characters, the decent, passable versions of Dick Grayson. Definitely decent Dick to enjoy. Yeah, take a drink every time we say dick or make a dick pun here. These ones are alright, they're adequate, they did their job, they're fine. I think a lot of other people might love these Dick Graysons, though me, I felt like they were just missing something. Not the worst thing ever, but also not close to greatness. They're a passable Bat Boy. Then underneath that, we have who? These ones are Dick Graysons I do not know. Yeah, I don't recognize these dicks. These dicks are very vague. I've never watched their show, movie, video game, etc. I just don't know who they are. So they're going right here on who, and I wanted to push it up so nobody thinks I was labeling them as the worst. But underneath that, we have Mehwing. These ones are below average. They're whatever. They're plain bad. They had a speck of hope there, could have amounted to a great Dick Grayson, could have been a really big dick, but kind of came in short. They were not very good, they're below average, they're a meh-wing. But at rock bottom we have Bird Brain. Yes, I know, this is a reference very hardcore DC fans will get. These ones suck. The bottom dicks, the small dicks, the weak dicks, the dicks that are laughably bad, the F tier, the total losers, worst interpretations of Dick Grayson ever. Hey Cat, hey Light Jones. Well, I wasn't expecting this. Not complaining since Robin / Nightwing has been done pretty well. Yeah, just to clarify, this is just Dick Grayson. We do not have the other Robins or sidekicks. No Jason Todd, no Tim Drake, no Carrie Kelly even. Dick Grayson. It is Dick Grayson as Robin, as Nightwing, as an Elseworlds interpretation of him. We even have Deadwing and Lego Nightwing on here. All of these are Dick Grayson, the first Bat family member. course, he did all the other Robins. This list would have been longer. Yeah, it would have been. Decided to do Dick Grayson, also to have a ton of puns about Dick. But yeah, that's my tier list. You know all the slots? These are all the interpretations of Dick Grayson, either as Robin, as Nightwing, as an Elseworlds counterpart. Every interpretation we've seen of this character so far, up to this current point. And I'll be ranking them all from who's the big dick to who's the little dick. Though I do think I see JGL there, but not complaining. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, yeah, we got Dark Knight Rises Dick Grayson on here. We'll talk about him soon, but technically he counts as a Robin stand-in. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about them all. Live action, cartoon, video game graphics, even Legos. So, Dick Grayson is the first official member of the Bat family, introduced to bring in a wacky, lovable kid sidekick character to the Dark Knight in order to humanize Batman more. If you don't know this story, Dick Grayson was once a great circus performer. He was a part of an acrobatics family, the Flying Graysons. They entertained at a circus. Whenever the Flying Graysons did their moves, there was magic in the air. Everyone loved them. Dick Grayson had a skill of acrobatics and some martial artists from doing his circus performing. He was taught well, he could do tightrope walking, he can grapple, basically enough to give him training that Bruce didn't need to teach him too much in order to be a badass sidekick. He was a part of the Flying Graysons until one day his parents died. They were either killed by a supervillain or usually Tony Zuko, who's Dick Grayson's own Joe Chill. Tony Zuko had the Graysons killed on stage. He tried to kill the whole family, but Dick Grayson miraculously survived, and he watched his parents die in front of him. Bruce saw a kindred spirit in him. He knows that pain all too well, and he took Dick Grayson under his wing, training him to be his sidekick. So in some interpretations, he tried to have Dick live a very simple and safer life, but Dick wanted revenge. He wanted to avenge the death of his parents and capture the killer, exactly like how Bruce wants to, leading to Bruce eventually letting him into the Batcave, teaching him to be Robin, the boy wonder, the bird sidekick, Batman's first technically foster son, but I consider him his first son overall. He and Robin became the dynamic duo, and Batman and Robin became one of the greatest partnerships of comic book history, and it has had varying quality over the years. Some good, some bad, some bad, some meh. Yeah, had a lot of good Dick Graysons. I honestly do like Dick Grayson. I think he is a badass sidekick. He's a very lovable character. If you don't know, Dick Grayson is the light-hearted moral compass of the Bat family. He's cracks jokes, cracks one-liners, he's a womanizer, but he has a noble heart. Dick Grayson is not afraid to call his dad out when he's crossed the line. He sometimes gets into fights with Batman, and if you know the story, eventually Dick Grayson would break free from Batman. They would end their relationship usually on sour terms, where Dick would become his own superhero. Hence why, under Batman, he's Robin, but once he leaves and becomes a young adult, he transitions into Nightwing, his own badass superhero, who's an on-again, off-again ally towards the Dark Knight. Depending on the writer, sometimes Dick and Bruce are on good terms, or sometimes they're on completely bad terms, sour terms that destroyed their relationship and caused Dick to fly off to be his own man. And yeah, had a lot of good interpretations of this character over the years. Everybody loves him as Nightwing more because, yeah, Nightwing's more badass than Robin. I thought Robin was always cool, a likable, plucky kid hero type of character. Nightwing has undergone a lot of interpretations, had a lot of deep character arcs, and had some disappointments here and there, but that's what we'll be ranking now. Some of those comics sucked as dicks. Sucked at dicks? Yeah, some of them did. I really wish you worked on the title on this video. I thought it was something else. That was kind of the joke, Tails. Yeah, count how many times they're gonna make dick puns in this video. Alright, so got every interpretation of Dick in media so far, the good, the bad, the ugly, so I guess we should finally get to judging them. Who's gonna be top Dick and who's gonna be the bottom Dick? Yeah, that was intentional. Gonna get away with a lot of Dick puns because we're talking about Nightwings. Alright, so let's finally start this. So we should start with the first ever Robin, the Serials Robin, and yeah, I'm gonna put this onto Who. Yeah, there's two of these guys. These are Robin from the black and white Batman serials. The ones that premiered during like World War II era films. These are kind of short segments. I've never watched these. Yeah, that's pretty much the short version. I've never seen the old black and white silent movies of Batman and Robin. I have no familiarity with these. These are ones where Batman and Robin usually fought Nazis or communist spies. Yeah, if you have an interest in watching them, go ahead. I'm sure some people might rank them a bit higher, but never seen them. I have no idea who these Robins are. I do not really consider them high profile versions of Dick. Neither have I. Yeah, thank you, Shadow. Never watched those black and white serials. I just don't have an interest in going back and watching them, especially because storytelling for superhero media has come so far. Or change the title. Nah, I think it's funnier that way. Yeah, I tried, but I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to that sort of thing. Couldn't think of the one that sounded really great. Alright, let's talk about the first actual Dick Grayson that became a household name. Holy top tier Batman, Burt Ward, who, yeah, going on to Flying Grayson. I know, really, Burt Ward is on S tier. Don't worry, he'll be easily outclassed by some of these later versions of Nightwing and Robin, but yeah, Burt Ward is a classic. I really like him. Burt Ward plays Robin from the Adam West TV show. He's the one who had the catchphrase, "Holy placeholder, Batman." He's the one who always said that. "Holy Polaris. Holy massive bombs, Batman. Holy confusing riddles, Batman." Yeah, he created that catchphrase. That is his defining catchphrase. This Robin is Bruce's young ward, Dick Grayson, who idolizes Batman. He's the kid hero, even though Burt Ward clearly did not look like a high schooler, but that's what kind of made it funny. Yeah, Burt Ward is classic. He's badass. He's always learning from Bruce, always listening to Batman, always following orders. Robin does display a bit of an impulsive, reckless side. We do see he doesn't listen to Batman from time to time, often landing in trouble, forcing the Bright Knight to save his hide. And yeah, I do like his banter with Adam West. He is basically like a kid. He's an audience surrogate for the kids at home watching. He looks up to Batman, always listens to him, and he's usually the one who learns like the lesson of the day, where Batman mentors him, shows him the error of his ways, and tells him, "It's okay, Robin. Luckily, I planned for this with the Bat insignia weapon here." I'm literally finding out those existed today. Yeah, me too, John Smith. I mean, he's with Adam West Batman, so of course he's a classic. Yeah, I really like this Robin, and hilariously, they always like tease that he could have a love interest but doesn't because he's not old enough to like girls yet, which, yeah, is hilarious. I mean, look at Burt Ward. He was clearly in that age, but yeah, Dick is very wholesome, very sweet, very innocent. I would say he gets a character arc in the animated movies. Adam West had anniversary movies, and these ones finally gave Robin more of a character arc. He tries to save the day without Batman in the first one. In Return of the Caped Crusader, Adam West Batman is brainwashed into being evil, and Adam West slowly turns into the bad guy. He becomes an evil Batman, forcing Robin to solve the mystery on his own. He teams up with Julie Newmar, Catwoman, and they end up helping him fighting the evil Batman clone army until, thanks to Batman's calculated strategy, Alfred gives him the antidote. Yeah, I would say that's definitely earns him S tier. We see Dick Grayson actually is a competent detective in the animated movies, and movie 2, he has this hilarious friendship triangle where Bruce is now best friends with Harvey Dent, making Dick completely jealous. Dick acts like a jilted ex-girlfriend, very pissed that Bruce is always spending time with Harvey Dent instead of me, and he tries to solve it on his own, only to accidentally become possessed by the Poison Two-Face syndrome. Yeah, it's a very wacky movie, but Dick Grayson becomes Two-Face Robin, has a fight with Batman, and hearing Burt Ward as an evildoer is so funny. "How's that for a sidekick, Batman? Your mother wears combat boots. I got your antidote right here, Batman." He's like flips him off. It's just so hilarious seeing Burt Ward as an evil bad guy. But yeah, his Robin, it's a classic. It is very hard to deny. This is a very iconic Robin. He is pretty much the example that people think of when they think of Robin. He's the plucky sidekick, has the catchphrases, always listens to Batman, always learns from his mistakes. This is a classic Dick Grayson, and Burt Ward is so awesome he even made a cameo in the Final Crisis event. Holy red skies of death! Yeah, he's still got it. Was this version gonna fight Godzilla in a canceled movie? I'm not sure. They carried that idea in Venture Bros? Oh, probably. Say what you want about Batman Forever, but they lampshaded the holy placeholder thing perfectly. Yeah, holy rusted metal Batman. Huh? The metal, it's all rusted and filled with holes, you know, holy. Oh. Okay, so yeah, wrap up. Burt Ward, Flying Grayson. He is definitely a top tier Robin. He will be easily outclassed by someone's upcoming, but yeah, he's going on Flying Grayson. Alright, so I suppose we should take out the Super Friends Robin, who is going on to Batboy. Yeah, he's okay. This is Casey Kasem as Robin. You can really hear a lot of the Shaggy in his voice. But yeah, Casey Kasem voiced Robin in the Super Friends cartoon, and he was fine. Basically an animated version of the Adam West Robin, plucky kid sidekick, always looked up to Batman, always had the holy placeholder catchphrase, and yeah, basically kind of a continuation of the Adam West style on this character. Yeah, he was fine. He was alright. I do like his banter with Batman. Again, they replicated a lot of the success Adam West and Burt Ward had in their show, so it was kind of just carried over in a cartoon form. Speaking of which, we'll also knock off the Scooby-Doo meets Batman and Robin. I'll place them a bit higher, but they're still gone on to Batboy. So, Scooby-Doo meets Batman and Robin for the first time, and it's Adam West and Burt Ward Robin. And yeah, it's a pretty fun and crazy episode. Technically two, they met them twice. Scooby-Doo meets Batman and Robin, once again, kind of like his Super Friends counterpart, replicating everything he did on the Adam West show, plucky kid sidekick, has a lot more badass moments, ironically, in the cartoon, but he's an okay character. Hey, Wolf. Hey, some media, Canada. Is the live action 2021 Robin on here? Oh, you mean, Titans Robin? Yeah, he's on here. We'll get to him soon. Okay, so yeah, wrap up. Yeah, these ones are fine depictions of Robin. They definitely won't knock your socks off or totally amaze and wow you, but they're passable. They're decent depictions of the Boy Wonder. I'm gonna put them both onto Batboy. Alright, now let's talk about a great Nightwing. Let's talk about Loren Lester's DCAU Nightwing, who, surprise, going on to Flying Grayson. And yeah, he is better than Burt Ward by a country mile. Very fun crossover for sure. Yeah, Scooby-Doo meets Batman Robin. It was a lot of fun. But now we're on Loren Lester Robin. So, when Loren Lester was Robin, I honestly thought he was like the worst character of the show. I was not a big fan of the animated series depiction of his Robin. Robin was the cool kid, the one who said all the lingo, the young people phrases. Oftentimes he got beaten up by the villains so Batman would save him. Then, complete and total turnaround when he became Nightwing. Nightwing is easily one of the biggest highlights of the Red Sky seasons. Dick Grayson underwent some massive character development, became a completely different guy, and much better on this show than he was in the original seasons. Loren Lester plays Dick Grayson, and at first he starts out as kind of an updated version of Burt Ward's Robin. He's the kid appeal character saying stuff like, "No problemo, Batman," and cracking a lot of puns and one-liners. Again, it's in character for Dick Grayson, but he was kind of a dork. When he was Robin, he was really dorky, really geeky. Oftentimes he got beaten up and he got duped by villains all the time. I remember that episode where the Joker brainwashed all the stand-up comedy judges. Like, this Roseanne Barr looking woman spanks Robin. Yeah, it was so weird and surreal. Yeah, Robin got spanked by Roseanne Barr. That's definitely a keeper in your memories, but yeah, he got way better, I would say, when he became Nightwing. he and Batman have a falling out, and it is one of the best episodes of the animated series. I know it's technically The New Adventures of Batman. It's the 4th season of the animated series, where Batman and Nightwing have a falling out. Dick cannot stand Bruce neglecting him anymore. Bruce doesn't even show up for his college graduation, doesn't care about him, doesn't care about his social life. Dick finally asks Barbara out. He and Barbara Gordon are finally dating, are falling in love, but the superhero life is killing his love life. He can't talk to Barbara, can't tell her the truth. It turns out Bruce actually knew Barbara Gordon was Batgirl the whole time, and deliberately not being there for him when he needed him, not showing up in events in his life, not caring and supporting about his dreams, his life goals, treating Dick more like his soldier. And this came to a crashing point up until Batman lets Barbara in the Bat family. Barbara Gordon is invited into the Batcave, leading to that funny moment where Alfred pretends he's Batman. But yeah, Barbara becomes his new official Bat family member, and Batman and Batgirl go on a mission without Dick Grayson. While Dick is thinking about life, stressing, he shows up late to a fight against the Joker. The Joker has a device that will knock airplanes out of the sky, crashing and causing 9/11 accidents. They fight on top of the highest tower in Gotham, and Dick finally has enough of Batman, finally comes to blows with him, calling him out, saying he manipulates people, pulls strings just to get what he wants. It's over, Batman. I quit. And he punches out Bruce, pretty epic moment for him, and Dick leaves the Bat family, goes off on his own to be his own man, only to return now as Nightwing. He's his own superhero, and an aloof ally towards the Bat family in this season, and Dick gained a lot more personality and a lot more character and a lot more badass moments. He is a lot more competent and hardened as Nightwing. Was definitely a mixed bag as Robin, though wins some points, especially during the Riddler episodes. But yeah, as Nightwing, he's 100% awesome. Fully agree. He became much more redeemed as Nightwing. He was not one of my favorite Robins. I will argue that he started out as one of the weakest characters of the show. Yet you can tell a lot of fans preferred him as Nightwing because we only have his Nightwing image on here and none of the animated series Robins. But yeah, he came back and he slowly forms bridges again with the Bat family. He's still very much in love with Barbara Gordon, has issues trusting Bruce. Batman and Nightwing are working through their father-son drama, becoming friends again, showing respect towards each other, and Nightwing had, honestly, a lot of good episodes. I do like how he shows up in the pilot, hinting that he's going to be an on-again, off-again ally. He usually helps Barbara Gordon because he still has feelings for her. I do like the episode where he and Catwoman form an alliance. I know a lot of people find it weird and kind of squicky because Catwoman tries to seduce Nightwing and they become partners, and we do see Nightwing start opening up more around her. He clearly doesn't fully trust her, but he falls for her, kisses her. There's a lot of love drama here because Catwoman used to love Batman, and Batgirl feels totally betrayed that Nightwing is seduced by Selina. However, it turns out Dick did trust Batman here. They turned the tables on Catwoman. Catwoman was using him all along to steal something she wanted, but no, Dick was actually using her, and he and Batman worked together to take Catwoman down, and we tease that he and Barbara might get back together. Unfortunately, if you see Batman Beyond, you know they do not have a happy ending. And today the swap meet was closed again for the second time. Oh, that's too bad. Dude, the moment I saw the thumbnail, I thought the title was something else. Lol. That was intentional, Monica. And we just don't talk about the Killing Joke. That and the infamous tie-in comic that Bruce Timm wrote in between Batman the Animated Series and Batman Beyond. But yeah, he became Nightwing, and he was so much cooler as this character. Nightwing has a few episodes. He fights the old friends he had in the circus. He helps the Bat family, helps Bruce when he's seduced by an evil plant woman working for Poison Ivy. Basically, kind of is their backup, and I do like that Dick Grayson really came as his own character. Has those cool flying squirrel wings. Definitely a prototype to the Batman Beyond suit's wings, where they had like a glider attached to the suit. Had that really cool cool Bluebird insignia. He was kick-ass, he was fun, and Lord Lester actually showed he could act. It's sad because they teased that Dick Grayson was coming back into the Bat family. He was very much welcome back into Wayne Manor, back in the Batcave, but then something happened which caused him to leave forever, and yeah, I'm sure a lot of people watching the stream don't like hearing this. It's Bruce Timm's infamous comic where there was a love drama between Dick, Barbara, and Bruce, and I don't like talking about it because I know how much we all hate it, but yeah, Bruce inadvertently caused some drama between Dick and Barbara, which caused them to break up forever, and Dick Grayson left Gotham City altogether to basically move into Bloodhaven to become Nightwing full-time, and yeah, it is a very disturbing story. Yeah, we don't talk about the Killing Joke, exactly. But yeah, his Nightwing, awesome, really like him. They completely redeemed this character. He went from being one of the worst characters on the animated series to being one of the best and almost the definitive version of Nightwing. He was so cool, he got a lot of character development, and we got to see Lord Lester could actually act when he was Nightwing. I'm gonna put him onto Flying Grayson. Alright, got a lot of dicks to work with. Big dicks, little dicks, good dicks, and bad dicks. Yeah, count how many times I'm gonna say that in this tier list. Alright, let's knock off a bad one. Let's knock off Deadwing. Oh yeah, remember Deadwing? He's from the Injustice movie. And yeah, going on to Birdbrain. This is not the worst version of Dick Grayson or Nightwing, but he does belong on F tier. Alright, I talked about this movie enough. The Injustice movie was a complete disappointment. It could have been good. I do like parts of it and will defend that some scenes and ideas were good, but yeah, this was definitely not one of them. Dick Grayson is a major character in the Injustice movie, and basically, they show you how he died. They showed you how Damian Wayne killed Dick Grayson, and honestly, it was kind of hilariously pathetic how he goes out, but Dick Grayson becomes the Injustice version of Deadman, becoming Deadwing. He's a ghost. A ghost? A ghost? That's right, a ghost. He becomes Deadwing, a combo of Nightwing and Deadman, and yeah, his story was completely pointless in this movie. Basically, Deadwing is there on the sidelines and helps Damian Wayne atone and redeem himself for his sins. And yeah, that is enough why he's going on F tier, because the sentence "redeem Damian Wayne" should never be said. Alright, this guy, barely a footnote in this movie, like how most characters were in this movie. Exactly. Yeah, Deadwing going on to F tier. Let's move on. Alright, I guess we should talk about the first mainstream movie Dick Grayson, Chris O'Donnell Dick Grayson. Okay, so I love Batman Forever and thought Chris O'Donnell as Robin was actually pretty passable, pretty good in that. Then came Batman and Robin. Okay, might be a controversial take, but Chris O'Donnell's Robin going on to Slick's sidekick. So, he is actually pretty good in Batman Forever. I know he is definitely a lot older than most Robins, but I was fine with that because he was also older on the animated series. Chris O'Donnell is good in Batman Forever. Unfortunately, he's not going to make it onto S tier because of Batman and Robin. In Batman Forever, we see Robin's origin story, how he lost his parents. In this version, Two-Face was the one who killed them, and Dick is adopted by Batman, becomes his foster son, he's being taken care of. Dick is a lot more of a bad boy with attitude. When I say with attitude, he's more like a Power Ranger character. He's very emotional, very angsty, pissed off, and he wants to kill Two-Face because he took his family from him. His mother, his father, and his brother all died, but he inadvertently discovers the Batcave. They do show that Dick Grayson does have his abilities like he should. He has acrobatic skills, does know some fighting skills, but he's not on par with Batman yet. And I do like his story in Batman Forever. Basically, it's Dick Grayson's coming of age story, with him maturing for the better, evolving into a hero, and becoming Batman's partner. And yeah, I love this moment where Val Kilmer Batman and Robin finally meet each other for the first time on screen. He finally dons the Robin suit, inspired by his acrobat suit, which is very heartwarming, and I do like it. It really says a lot about his character. I can't promise you that I won't kill Two-Face, but I want to help. A man's gotta go his own way. We're not just a sidekick, partner. And yeah, seeing Batman and Robin shaking hands for the first time on the big screen, pretty epic. He drives the Batboat, somehow without training, and he gets his battleship sunk. He actually does beat the crap out of Two-Face, so he does show some skills in combat. However, he shows mercy towards Two-Face. How very noble. Stupid, but noble. And he's taken hostage. However, it does lead to that badass scene where both Dr. Chase Meridian and Dick Grayson are dropped down the death trap, and Batman saves Robin. They have that epic moment where they hold hands and he hoists them up, showing that Batman has come to accept Robin as his sidekick. And then Batman just murders Two-Face to keep Dick's hands clean. Yeah, I know, controversial point in the movie, but yeah. Unfortunately, this is why he's not on S tier. They kind of ruin Robin. I believe I speak for the Nostalgia Critic when I said, this is half his dialogue. A shame he was great in Batman Forever, but absolutely ruined in Batman and Robin. Yeah, okay, I do like Batman Forever, and I will defend it is a good movie. I do like Robin's character arc in that. Chris O'Donnell actually was a pretty good choice to play Robin. He was cool, he was funny, he was charming, had a lot of that energetic, that youthful energy basically to be Robin, had a lot of snappy one-liners and jokey dialogue, and I do like his story. He matures and he becomes a Bat Family sidekick. Unfortunately, complete character regression in Batman and Robin. Dick Grayson turns into a whiny attention whore, always being this arrogant brat, pissed off that, oh, you don't trust me, Batman, I can handle it, Batman, why don't I get a car? Chicks dig the car. This is why Superman works alone. And Batman and Robin have a falling out in this movie, and unfortunately, it is not as good as it was in a children's cartoon. Yeah, big shocker, the animated series did this way better. Dick is tired of Batman treating him like a kid, so he responds by acting like an immature, entitled brat. And yeah, half his dialogue is him complaining. Yeah, he cries like, why don't I get a car? Why isn't there a Robin signal? Why am I not on equal footing with Batman? Why are you treating me like a kid? And yeah, he does not show that he has grown up at all in this movie, yet we're supposed to side with him and feel like Dick has a point. I like to remind people, in the animated series, Dick Grayson had a falling out with Batman over their moral compasses. He could not stand that Batman became cold, ruthless, and hardened, and he punches out Batman before running away to be his own hero. Here, Dick Grayson very much cries, complains, and acts like a very snobby brat. He demands Batman treats him as an equal, but never shows he's matured, that he's capable of handling stuff. And I think out of all the bad scenes Robin has in this movie, this is the one that pretty much cemented how much people hated him. When they're chasing Mr. Freeze down in that epic car chase, they're going down the freeway, passing all those giant Greek statues, Robin tries to chase Mr. Freeze across this very huge jump. Freeze and his goons make like a ramp and jump across a statue to the other side of a building on the highway, but Robin clearly not going to make it. Batman is telling him, stand down, Robin, you're not gonna make it. And he's crying, I can make it, I can make it. Trust me, Bruce, I got this. And he completely ignores Batman, forcing Batman to shut down the Robin cycle so he doesn't make the jump. And we see this jump killed Mr. Freeze's henchman. Victor Freeze barely made it across, and Batman loses the Batmobile and ejects Arkham Knight style, pouncing on Mr. Freeze, making it clear that no, he was not gonna make it, especially in his motorcycle. And how does he react? He screams in the air, pissed off, demanding that Batman doesn't treat him as an equal. It's like, I could have made it. You don't trust me, Bruce. It's Batman and Robin, never Robin and Batman. And of course, doing the nostalgia critic voice. Damn it, I was just gonna reference that. You can blame some of it on Poison Ivy, but yeah, the car line. Yeah, speaking of which, Robin and Batman are completely seduced by Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy tricks them with her seductive pheromones, causing Batman and Robin's emotions to get even worse. And yeah, Robin is completely under Poison Ivy's thumb, completely swooned by her, falling for her. Now, to Joel Schumacher's credit, this was based on an actual comic where Poison Ivy seduces Batman and Robin and causes them to fight each other over her. It's happening in this movie, and this could have worked, but we see that Robin was kind of acting bratty and arrogant before Poison Ivy even entered Gotham City, and that's where a lot of the problems lie, that Dick's worst emotions and bad habits are boiling to the surface, especially thanks to Poison Ivy's influence. And yeah, Batman and Robin have a falling out. They fight Poison Ivy and Bane together, and Robin ends up knocked into ice cream or something, saying that, like, it's over, I'm going solo. And Bruce keeps trying to save his sorry ass, and Robin acts like a completely entitled, ungrateful brat. He's like always saying no to Bruce, I know better. He tries to like rub it in his face that he's a good sidekick. He caught on to what Barbara was doing in the underground racing circuit. Then, eventually, through absolutely no character development or arc whatsoever, Robin comes around to listening to Bruce, really realizing that he was right, Poison Ivy was just trying to kill him. He goes to Poison Ivy because she planted a Robin signal, showing that she loves him and wants him. He almost falls for it, but rubber lips sink ships, and instead of giving Robin his moment of teaming up with Batman, he's KO'd by Poison Ivy, and he and Batman are knocked down by the plants, while Barbara comes in as Batgirl and saves them for him. And of course, it gave us Doug's most famous meme. Yeah, that is most his dialogue. It was absolutely not earned, but yeah, Robin, complete turnaround, now he likes Batman, and it's hinted that he's in love with Barbara, again, like their comic counterparts, but Barbara is not Barbara Gordon in this movie, she's Alfred's niece instead, to tie her in closer to the Bat family. Kind of weird, because in a sense, Alfred is like their family too, so he's going out with his cousin, but yeah. Dick and Barbara get romantic moments, are teased that they're going to become a couple eventually, and we see Batman, Robin, and Batgirl defeat Mr. Freeze, run into the spotlight together to the sequel that never happened. Yeah, okay, he's good in Batman Forever, not at all in Batman and Robin, and that's why I refuse to put him in S tier. I just love Batman Forever so much, so I give him some credibility. But yeah, he's going on to Slick's sidekick. You can thank Batman and Robin for turning him into a meme. Yeah, I love Doug's most famous line. That was pretty accurate, honestly. Yeah, I'll give him an A for effort, but don't worry, he will be outclassed by a lot of later Robins. A shame, because Chris did so well in his first movie, but I'll put him on to Slick's sidekick. Alright, so got a lot of good Nightwings here, and some bad. I think I'll knock off Nightwing from Batwheels. Batwheels! Yeah, this one also going on to Who. I've never watched Batwheels, so I have no idea what this Nightwing is like. If you don't know, Batwheels is a very, very child-friendly cartoon where it's about the Batmobile and their vehicles being sentient cars going on wacky adventures together. And sometimes the Bat family and Batman's rogues will appear. Nightwing appears in it, and his motorcycle is a character. Yeah, I never watched it. Going on to Who. Probably because the guy that played Gordon was so old, Pat Hingle. Yeah, you're too old for me. No, I'm not. Pat Hingle was still pretty funny. Yeah, Batwheels Nightwing going on to Who. Sorry, never watched it. Next, a lot of good ones, but some bad. Alright, let's talk about Brenton Thwaites' Nightwing. This is Titans Dick Grayson, and he's going to be our first Mehwing. Okay, so this honestly really hurts because Brenton Thwaites, I thought, was actually perfectly casted as Nightwing. This is very much a case like Henry Cavill as Superman. He was perfectly casted as the role. Unfortunately, he was in a steaming pile of crap. Just like Henry Cavill, who was a good Superman choice, didn't get to feel like a good Superman. Brenton Thwaites was a good Dick Grayson choice. Unfortunately, he's a part of the crappy, infamous show Titans. Yeah, this is the fuck Batman guy. And yeah, he was very disappointing to say the least, and a lot of it has to do with his writing. Just made it so Robin, huh? Can you change it so it doesn't sound as offensive? No, I wanted to attract attention. Plus, this is Dick Grayson only, not every Robin ever. Alright, we're on Brenton Thwaites from Titans as Dick Grayson, and honestly, this hurts because he started out so promising. Thwaites is actually a good actor. He does capture a lot of Nightwing moments. Unfortunately, the writing behind him is god-awful. I know, shocker, this is the fuck Batman show. John Smith Anime Night, no, because it's funnier that way. Okay, so Dick Grayson is trying to go on his own, be his own man, be independent, and break away from Batman. The show starts with him moving to Detroit to become a police officer, and he's Detective Dick Grayson for like 2 episodes. Yeah, he carries his Robin uniform, and spoilers, he is only Robin in 1 episode, then he does not become Nightwing until the end of season 2. Yeah, let me repeat that. He doesn't become Nightwing until the end of season 2, after 25 episodes at least. He starts out as Robin in episode 1, then decides he doesn't want to be Robin anymore, and we get this long, dragged out angst arc where Dick Grayson is struggling to find his identity, what to do with his life. Who am I? Do I want to be a superhero, or do I want to be a regular cop helping regular people? Do I want to be under Batman's shadow or my own? And yeah, I was sitting back screaming, oh, just give him the damn Nightwing suit already. No, he spends half the show being ordinary, regular Dick Grayson, and it is slow. That show almost made Teen Titans Go look like a decent series. Yeah, it did. It is painfully slow. They build up to him becoming Nightwing, and allegedly the writers were going to make him Nightwing earlier, but decided, let's make it a big event and save it for the end of season 2 when he's fighting Slade. So he's regular-ass Dick Grayson this whole time, and basically trying to find his place in this world, trying to find out his own identity, what he wants to do with his life. He's not really a teen. Brenton Thwaites is like in his mid-20s by now, and working an actual job. He has an apartment. However, his life is forever changed when the Titans come to his doorstep. Raven, needs his help. He tries to help her, finds out people are hunting her down. She's being hunted by the cult of Trigon. Dick accidentally becomes the de facto leader of this group of young superheroes, eventually the Teen Titans, and when he's not crying about not wanting to be with Batman, he is very much wrapped up in a lot of the romance drama. Yeah, this has a lot of CW vibes in it. They kind of emphasize that Dick Grayson has a very messy love life, and every chick in this show wants a piece of him. Like, Raven has a childhood crush on him. He had a romance with Dove from Hawk and Dove. Starfire wants him. Barbara Gordon wants him. He and Wonder Girl possibly dated, and there's this huge question over who Dick's gonna end up with. really hated Dawn, aka Dove from Hawk and Dove. Yeah, it's the girl Dove. Hawk and Dove are this twin superhero couple. They used to be siblings, but they lost their siblings and became a couple. Hank and Dawn are retired superheroes. Fall back into the life when Dick Grayson needs them, and yeah, Dove kind of manipulates them as kind of the Lori Grimes manipulating their Rick and Shane. I mean, with what I heard about this series, especially with Scarecrow, I'm glad I missed this show. You did not miss much, Shadowlink. Speaking of which, guess what? They also decided to give Dick Grayson a love triangle on par with Green Lantern John Stewart's from Justice League. You know how John Stewart had a love story where he was stuck between Vixen and Hawkgirl? Well, they do that with Dick Grayson. He's stuck between Barbara Gordon, now Oracle, and Starfire. Yeah, this has the ghetto prostitute Starfire. Yeah, they didn't want to paint a woman orange. She's a black woman now, and she honestly dresses like a racist prostitute. Yeah, Dick is stuck between Corey, Starfire, and Barbara Gordon, and to make things awkward, halfway through season 4, we find out Nightstar exists. Who's Nightstar? She's the daughter of Dick Grayson and Starfire from the future, and it creates some drama between Barbara and Dick because now they're worried we're not gonna end up together. Dick is going to eventually crawl to Starfire as his true love because Nightstar exists and she came back in the future, and yeah, it is very dumb, sloppy, CW romance crap. It is very cringe. He doesn't get the Nightwing suit until the end of season 2, where he finally makes his debut so we can have Nightwing versus Slade. And it's not even him who saves the day. Ravager shows up, and Ravager and Nightwing double team Slade, where Ravager kills her dad, siding with the Titans as her true family. It is also a very terribly written arc because Ravager has barely shared any loving or touching scenes with the Titans. I mean, if it's 2025, Hot Girl no contest. Hey, DCAU Hot Girl was very pretty. Want to feel better about your shitty love life? Watch basically any superhero show. Exactly. I can still remember from the new Batman Adventures when Dick told Batman he quit and punched him in the face and removed his cape and mask. Yeah, I mentioned that. That was a really awesome scene. Yeah, so Titans is a very bad show. It is desperately edgy, very try-hard, does not know who its target audience is. I guess it wanted to attract people who didn't like how Teen Titans Go was so lighthearted, so they went in the opposite direction, but went way too far. It reeks of edgelord punk writing. It wants to be cool, angsty, and deep, but it's just not. And through Nightwing, that really shows. Nightwing hates Batman. We never find out why until the end of the season, where he wants to be his own man. He doesn't want to take up the mantle of Batman. Batman in this show has been grooming Dick to take up the cowl. He wants Dick to replace him when he's eventually too old or can't fight anymore. And Dick didn't want that life. He finally talks to Bruce, and Bruce is like, oh, okay, no problem. That was it. That was it. Yeah, Dick and Bruce make amends, and Bruce is kind of an anti-hero in this show. They show you his worst parts, they show you his best parts. If you're curious, Batman is played by Dr. Isaacs from the Resident Evil movies. Yeah, not my go-to casting, and it's pretty weird seeing him in this show, but yeah. He and Bruce had a falling out, then Bruce abandons his heroics, leading to the sidekicks saving him and pulling him away from the abyss. His Nightwing armor honestly isn't all that good looking. It looks kind of like combat armor more than superhero armor. Yeah, I did kind of prefer the spandex outfit over this Arrowverse armored look, but yeah, Brenton Thwaites really tries, and I do think he could have been a good Dick Grayson, but this show is god-awful, and they really failed at making him the great hero we know and love from the comics. Speaking of Teen Titans, we know that where that Robin will go next to Nightwing. Yeah, okay. Anyways, to wrap up, yeah, Titans sucks, and yeah, their interpretation of Dick Grayson almost was good, but ended up very, very bad. Unsympathetic, unlikable, very angsty and whiny, and I would say he's a lot more worse than Chris O'Donnell's Robin in terms of complaining. Yeah, he's going on to Mehwing. Alright, speaking of which, okay, you guys want Scott Menville Robin, Teen Titans, Titans, go! This Robin, shocker, going on to Flying Grayson. Yeah, I think we found our number one Dick Grayson. I might have to eat those words if we find a better one later, but yeah, he is S tier. Finally made it to the good Teen Titans Robin, Scott Menville, and yeah, excellent. He is fantastic. He is perfect. I think people list this guy as the definitive Robin. Teen Titans made Robin one of the most badass, awesome, cool heroes of DC, and Scott Menville's performance definitely became a memorable one. And yeah, Teen Titans, it's a great show. The animated Teen Titans. This is the Robin we all know and love. This is an epic version of Dick Grayson. He is cool, he is confident, kind of a junior Batman at times, but he has a lot of great character, a very noble heart, and trained his hardest to be badass. So badass that he's the leader among a team of superpowered heroes, even though he has no powers. That is how awesome this Robin is. Best to save that for last to end on a high note, and never mind. Don't worry, we still have Arkhamverse Nightwing. We usually end with the Arkhamverse ones, but yeah. Yeah, sorry. Gonna jump the gun and put Scott Menville's Dick Grayson up on Flying Grayson. Yeah, this Robin, very good. Very well written, very well designed, and honestly has a lot of the greatest moments of the series. Dick Grayson kind of starts out as a junior Batman, very serious, very no-nonsense. He does have his lighthearted moments, but we do see in the first season, he had his greatest character arc. Robin is teetering close to being like Slade. Slade is the first arc villain of the first 2 seasons, and he is slowly trying to corrupt Robin. At first, Slade tries to kill and eliminate the Teen Titans, but Dick Grayson's detective work skills and passion for fighting back against Slade, even outsmarting him a few times, starts to make Slade view him as a worthy opponent, and Slade goes from wanting to kill Robin to seeing him as a protege, a sidekick to call his own, a possible son, and yeah, it is very creepy and unsettling and super dramatic. Slade tries to groom Robin into being his sidekick. He wants Robin to be his child, to be his protege, to be his student, his pupil, to follow him and his ways and help him conquer the city. Turn Dick Grayson into a supervillain like him. And yeah, in this very demented twist, Slade created this whole insane scheme to lure Robin into a trap. He injected nanobots into the Teen Titans and will kill them if Robin doesn't kneel before him. And he wanted to coerce Robin into being a Slade Jr. Robin is forced to comply. He gives in and becomes basically the Ravager of the Teen Titans show, becomes Slade's sidekick, and he and Slade are forced to work together as Slade tries to basically groom him and convert him into being a supervillain. At least this Robin ends up with Starfire. Yep, exactly. This one squared up with Space Satan. Yeah, Trigon, he was awesome. But yeah, this is my definitive Robin, Dick Grayson. Absolutely love him. He's a good leader, has heart, and a lot of great development. Yeah, I think this might be the #1 Dick Grayson on this list, because Teen Titans did a phenomenal job with this Robin. Everybody loves this take on Robin. Scott Menville is very good at being funny, being lighthearted, but also being dead serious, dramatic, and being a badass hero. You can see why he stood on equal footing with Batman for a time. But Yeah, he is forced to serve Slade, fights the Titans. The Titans discover that they're injected with nanites, and Robin is being forced and coerced into being a villain, where they stand by him even if it means them dying. And finally, Robin outsmarts Slade because Slade hates losing. He injects himself with nanites, and Slade wouldn't have the honor of defeating the Titans. Robin would do himself in, and Slade finally cracks. We finally see Slade lose, that he can't stand Robin getting the best of him, and Slade doesn't want to kill his own protege. He disables the nanites, and the Titans all kick his ass. We get like a brief glimpse of what Slade might look like. It's kind of funny because he looks like an older Robin. There was a lot of build up to what Slade would have looked like in this show, but yeah, they defeat him, and Robin's welcome back, proving that the power of friendship is strong in him, that the Titans made Dick a better person. Then throughout the rest of the series, we do get some spotlight episodes with him. He's now the much more professional leader. He's the straight, level-headed man leading the team, always calling out the Titans, always giving them orders. They respect him. He recruits new Titans. He tries to help save Tara. Beast Boy's the one who gets through to her, though. He and Starfire have their will they and won't they relationship, where, good news, in Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo, they finally kiss and get together. Slade, I might be a father to you. I already have a father. And we cut to that dramatic image of bats flying in the sky. Yep, that's the closest you get to referencing Batman in this show, folks. Sorry, just my water bottle. But yeah. I do also like his episode where he goes on his quest to find the Great Master. He goes like Asia somewhere, fights this evil, arrogant kung fu guy, and he passes a lot of trials and tribulations, fighting these spirit animal guardian people who teach Robin some new life lessons, and he finally trains under the old master. We also get that funny B-plot where all the Titans dress as Robin. Yeah, it's so cool being Robin, and all of them are like wearing his suits. Some hilariously don't fit, like characters like Cyborg or Starfire, but then like Beast Boy and Raven even wear them. It's kind of funny because Raven even got into it. Yeah, I like being Robin too. He like shows up at the end and crashing their party. The Haunted episode was also crazy, where Robin dealt with Slade's ghost and nearly dies. Yeah, I'm trying to get Wolf to review that episode. Wolf really loved that episode. Slade's ghost came back, and it's kept very vague and ambiguous what's happening, or how this happened. At the end, they imply Slade's ghost was real. That was like one of the scariest episodes of the series. Yeah, Robin fights Slade, but it turns out he's fighting an illusion. He's been brainwashed by a chemical. It was hidden in this dust that activated. Like, he picks up the Slade mask that was destroyed by Tara, and suddenly this dust cloud hits him. It turns out it was a toxic chemical laced with a poison that would cause you to hallucinate your nightmares. Low-key kind of fear gas, and he starts seeing Slade suddenly alive, threatening the city, attacking him. It turns out, no, it's all in his mind. Slade is like mentally torturing him and mind-screwing him one last time, where Robin finally conquers his fears, but then there's a twist that somebody activated it. Somebody from outside the tower. And get that really haunting twist ending shot where Slade's mask like suddenly glows, hinting that Slade was going to come back and that, yeah, Slade might have been alive. It was a really creepy episode. I remember the subplot that what weird is that Raven's body can fit easily into Robin's uniform. Well, she is shorter than he is. Also, the subplot, it shows how much Starfire and Robin, not unlike Teen Titans Go, Starfire. Oh, Starfire misses Robin. Yeah, they all miss Robin. Yeah, the Titans are much better friends towards this Robin and then Teen Titans Go. Yeah, we'll get to him after. But yeah, Robin becomes a badass leader, finally conquers his fears of Slade, has a lot of good episodes. I do like the one where Starfire is destined to get married to some ugly, hideous prince alien. He tries to stop the wedding. We get a lot of will they, won't they with Starfire and Robin. He is afraid to call her his girlfriend. He tries to be nice to her, doesn't respect her in a few episodes, tries to be the level-headed one, has a lot of fun episodes too, but ultimately, Robin finally gets his character arc resolved in Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo. The technically true finale, yeah, I recommend watching this movie over that stupid Terra episode at the end. Yeah, Things Change was a really god-awful episode all these years later, but watch Trouble in Tokyo, that is the real finale to Teen Titans, because it actually ends with Robin and Starfire finally getting together. Robin is hunting down this evil Japanese supervillain, finds out that there's this evil superpower magic man, this magical artist named Brushogun. They go there, it looks like Robin killed a man, but no, it was a drawing. This is the supervillain's powers. He brings drawings to real life. The Titans have been fighting drawings this whole time. Honestly, kind of a hardcore scene, because it looks like Robin, beat this supervillain to death. He's, getting red ink all over him, looking like blood. This is a very visceral image, and I'm kind of shocked Cartoon Network let it fly on the movie. But yeah, Robin beat a guy to death. It turns out, no, it was a drawing. Robin escapes Japanese prison, is on the run from the law. He and the Titans work together against a bunch of crazy enemies in Japan, until they finally defeat Brushogun. Robin proved that he was a good guy in the end. He saves Brushogun's life from the true mastermind, which was really this evil detective guy. Yeah, this detective guy was making fake criminals, so he and his super duper police officers would come in and look like heroes. Robin proves that he's a complete fraud. He saves the real Brushogun, grants him a peaceful death, and he and Starfire finally kiss. Yeah, they've been building up to this greatly. Every time it looked like they would kiss, something hilarious would interfere and ruin their chances. No, they get together and stay together, ending Teen Titans honestly on a really happy note. Joker versus Slade. Ooh, that is kind of hard. I do think Slade might win. Mostly because I played Arkham Origins recently, and Slade said, apparently the Joker's afraid of me, wouldn't let me out and left me here, and he's still trapped in his prison cell exercising, which really says how badass Slade is, because the Joker didn't want to release him from the Blackgate riot. Yeah, I think Slade might win, because even the Joker knows how dangerous he is. We were promised that if the Teen Titans Go movie did well, we would get a 6th season, and while it did do well, we never got a 6th season. They just pulled a gem film on us. Yeah, they did. Yeah, Trouble in Tokyo was a better send-off than that Things Change episode, which was depressing and a very almost nothing episode. Yeah, that pissed a lot of people off, and I do think it's obvious that the girl was Terra the whole time, but they keep trying to keep it vague and imply, oh, she might not be real, she could be a ghost, or she is a regular girl. Did not like that episode. My favorite moment of that film is the Japanese chef, or the Japanese chief, how he looked like an anime guy from another show. Yeah, a lot of anime references. Beast Boy even, fights Felicia, and Starfire fights an evil Astro Boy. A lot of funny in-jokes that anime fans would get. But yeah, to wrap up, Scott Menville's Teen Titans Robin, he is awesome. Of course he's going on to S tier. He might be our #1 Robin, but if he's not, he's still a flying Grayson. Alright, speaking of which, Teen Titans Go, Robin! Yeah, bird brain. Was there really any doubt? Teen Titans Go is awful. And of course, Robin was ruined the most by this show. The Teen Titans Go cast are pretty much nicknamed and dubbed the Toddler Titans, with Robin being ruined the most. Robin is the joyless buzzkill, the downer, the petty jerk. Robin sucks as a team leader and is often abused and mistreated by the Teen Titans. Yeah. Shocker, Teen Titans Go Robin, easily the worst. He honestly might be the last place Robin on this list. That is how bad he is. I do not like Teen Titans Go. No, all these years later, my mind does not change. This Robin sucks. He's a baby, he's a loser, he's a very corrupt, underhanded bastard too, who mistreats his teammates. One of the worst episodes of the series is Starfire grows to love cats. So, Dick Grayson disguises himself as a cat so Starfire can touch him. No, I'm not joking. That is the actual plot of an episode. Dick Grayson, Robin, dresses up like a kitty and wants Starfire to touch him, to show him love, to pet him, and he sleeps with her at night, sleeps in her room, like Starfire petting him and rubbing him. It is pretty much the writer's really creepy, poorly disguised fetish on full display. And yeah, it is gross. That's why he's going on to Bird Brain. I mean, all the Teen Titans characters took a downgrade, let's be real. Yeah, you're not wrong, Shadow. They all took a downgrade. All of them suck on that show. But even people who like Teen Titans Go tell me they hate Robin. They hate Robin in this, and that's coming from children who actually enjoy the show. All the children who like Teen Titans Go because they never saw the original classic, or just like the dumb comedy, they do not like Robin. They like all the other characters more than him. Some defend Beast Boy, Raven, and Starfire, but Robin, no such luck. He sucks. Bro took a downgrade. Yeah, they even point that out in the show, where like Control Freak acts as this toxic fan talking about how good Teen Titans used to be, and this Robin actually says, "Man, I used to be so cool looking." That you did, Robin, that you did. Yeah, we know the Teen Titans Go Robin goes in the bottom, absolutely. Yeah, no, he sucks. The baby hands, what's with that? It looks so weird. But the whole cartoon kind of looks weird. Like, I'm kind of surprised Teen Titans Go has lasted this long. It's been like 10 years since that show aired. It aired back when Beware the Batman also aired, and it's still on, going on 400 episodes. They have not brought back the good Teen Titans, but kept this show going for some reason. The Boys vs. Girls episode is universally hated because of the plot. Yeah, I never saw the episode ever again. Yeah, Robin is pissed off that the girls are doing better than them, so he gives them an STD. They don't say it directly, but he gives them some kind of poison disease, and the girls get like rashes and hickey looking bulbs all over them. It is a really gross episode, and yeah, shows Robin at his worst, that he was willing to poison his teammates and cripple them, cut them at the knees before they could ever usurp his leadership. Yeah, all of them suck. Yeah, I think it goes without saying, Teen Titans Go Robin sucks. This is easily rock bottom Bird Brain Robin, easily the worst Dick Grayson we've ever had. He is a total bird brain. Alright, I gotta use the restroom, but we still got a few Robins here. Good, bad, in between. Cast your vote in the chat or comments below. I'll be right back. Gonna use the restroom, but tell me which one you want to see next. I'll be right back. Titans, go! Hey, I'm back. Who'd you guys vote for? Which, speaking of, wouldn't mind a future tier list on all the Batman characters along with the animated series and Batman Beyond. Yeah, those would be really fun. I do have to rewatch Batman Beyond. I haven't rewatched that one in too long. According to my research, some fans liked it because they gave them something the classic Titans never did. Have Raven show off her bare legs as she never did in the original. Yeah, there was like a whole episode that fetishized Raven, and it was really creepy because she's still technically a teenager, but they called her Lady Legacy, and Raven showed off her hot legs a lot. Beast Boy was drooling over her. Really weird. Let's do the Batman Robin. Okay. For the next garage, Robin from DC Superhero Girls 2. Oh, okay. Alright, we'll knock off the Batman Robin. And this is Robin from the underrated The Batman. Robin was introduced in Season 4 to expand the Bat family. And he is going on to... Honestly, I think I'll put him on Slick's sidekick. Alright, almost S tier, but I do find some problems with him. Dick Grayson was very much the kid appeal character, brought a lot more comedy and lightheartedness to the Batman, and some would argue that the show got bad as soon as Robin was introduced. I can definitely see where they're coming from, because I like the Batman when it was dark, serious, and very mature. Robin kind of added an immature level and made the show a lot more kid-friendly. But that being said, this was not at all a bad depiction of Robin. Robin honestly had a very dark debut episode. We see how Robin's parents died. Robin is introduced in Season 4 of The Batman, and actually in the premiere of the season, where we see Haley Circus coming into town. And I do like that they had a lot of loving tributes in the show. Father Grayson was voiced by Kevin Conroy, and Tony Zuko, the corrupt ringmaster who would kill the parents, is played by Mark Hamill. Yep, they had legendary DC veterans. Kevin Conroy is Father Grayson, and Mark Hamill is Tony Zuko. And this is the first time where the Joker succeeded at killing Batman, because, yeah, tragically, the Grayson parents die, and it is a lot more heavier and dark in this show than it was on the animated series. Yeah, we see Tony Zuko tried to extort them for protection money. He has like a corrupt gang family of circus freaks. They sabotaged the tripwires the Graysons were doing their tricks on, and the parents both died right in front of Dick. He lost them, and Bruce adopted Dick Grayson, again, out of the goodness of his heart, saw a kindred spirit in him, and tried to avenge the death of his parents. Batman went on a manhunt hunting down Tony Zuko, fighting him, but Batman actually got captured, and Dick becomes Robin. He changes his acrobat suit into his costume, homage to the Chris O'Donnell Robin, becoming his sidekick, and Robin shows up, saves the day, and decides not to kill Tony Zuko. They defeat him and have him arrested, where Batman decides to take Robin in as a sidekick very early. It's implied that Batgirl's story arc kind of inspired Bruce to mellow out and accept a lot more help, even growing the Bat family. And yeah, he starts that by accepting Robin with complete open arms and trains him to be a more capable sidekick. That was a pretty nice tribute. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That's pretty fair. Was late in the game. He definitely has his strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so weaknesses. Robin is a lot more juvenile in this show. Not to the same extent as Batman and Robin, but he does have his immature moments. A lot more lightheartedness and comedy in the Batman, especially the later seasons. It doesn't help that Robin came very late in the game. Season 4 was definitely his season, and Season 5 he's kind of there as the wacky comic relief character, always getting into trouble, always snarking and being impressed by Batman or the Justice League. Season 4, Robin is trained to be a badass sidekick on equal footing with the Dark Knight, and he and Barbara Gordon are kind of at odds with each other because Batgirl was his first sidekick, but she was never invited into the Batcave until this season. Bruce finally lets the kids into his crusade. He finally allows Batgirl in the Batcave. They all reveal their identities. Hilariously, Bruce kind of reveals them for them. But yeah, Barbara, Dick Grayson have this funny childhood friendship that grows out through Season 4. At first, they hate each other, then they grow to respect each other, and by the end of the series, it was actually pretty wholesome and sweet to see Dick and Barbara went from enemies to best friends. I'm not sure if they were going to become a couple like they are in other media, especially because Dick is like 10 in this show, and Barbara is now officially in college in the last season. Yeah, kind of an awkward romance there, but yeah, they become best friends, and it's hinted that they set up the Teen Titans in the finale. That Batgirl and Robin are having a private conversation that, well, maybe we should open up our own league. A league for kids like us. Hinting that this is the Robin we see in Teen Titans. And there is a huge, hot fan debate over whether this Robin is the same Robin we see in Teen Titans. They drew him exactly like him. He's a lot younger, and he has the same bow staff that he uses in Teen Titans. There are fans who theorize that the Batman was a prequel to Teen Titans, that they take place in the same universe. My favorite moment of that series with Robin is when Fox kept making references of Bruce being Batman and Dick tried to deny it, only for Bruce to tell him that Lucius Fox knows the truth. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah, Lucius Fox knows Bruce is Batman this continuity because the Nolanverse was pretty huge. I do like that Lucius Fox now knows who Batman and Bruce Wayne are. It's honestly pretty refreshing to see Batman opening up to more people. But yeah, some fans theorize that this Robin was a precursor to Teen Titans Robin, that they're the same exact Robin. They drew them kind of alike, they have same colors, same uniform styles, and they both love using the bow staff. Though, I think Robin using a bow staff kind of became his go-to weapon after Teen Titans as a whole, because in every other cartoon or video game, he always has the retractable bow staff. But yeah, I do kind of like this Robin, though here's where we get to some weaknesses. I think later in the series, Robin became kind of the funny kid character. He tried to cut school to help Batman when he and the Riddler were both trapped in a sinking ship. He has like funny interactions with his classmates. Robin is kind of a cute kid character who hates being called the cute kid character. He and Bruce have a lot of funny banter, acts more like a son. He plays video games, and yeah, one of his MMO characters is literally Nightwing. Again, I do like the reference, but yeah, it's kind of silly that Nightwing is his video game character he plays in a superhero RPG. Yeah, Robin plays DC Universe Online. That is kind of funny, but yeah, I really wanted to see him actually become Nightwing in the show, but he never does. And special mention going to the Wrath and Scorn episode. Now, this is a good episode, but they have a lot of these funny moments where he and Scorn, the evil Robin, have a lot of bickering and bantering back and forth. He's actually played by the voice actor's real-life brother, Sabera. I think Daniel Sabera's his name. He went on to voice Generator Rex, I believe. It's funny at first, but then gets kind of annoying and a constant reminder that, oh yeah, it's a kid's show. He and him are getting into like a pissing contest. Get ready to be famous, Dickie. They're trying to one-up each other only to accidentally hurt each other. It is pretty satisfying seeing Dick finally knock him down off his high horse. But yeah, I think this Robin, pretty good. Pretty decent. I do like him. He was important in his debut season. Then he started to be sidelined. They tried making him the action figure character. He plays with a lot of weapons and toys. They even give Robin a jetpack. He kind of got sidelined in season 5 and was often written as the kid impressed by the Justice League. Kind of fizzled out as a character, but I think he was alright. I'm going to put him onto A tier. Yeah, the Batman's Robin, definitely good, kick-ass debut. Unfortunately, he kind of got sidelined as it became Justice League Unlimited Season 4. This one, definitely alright. Going on to Slick's sidekick. Alright, somebody wanted Robin from DC Superhero Girls, who also going on to Bird Brain. Yeah, I'll put him above Teen Titans Go Robin at least. Yeah, this is actually Dick Grayson from DC Superhero Girls, and he is the worst character on that show. Dick Grayson is a petty a petty, emotional, frail, arrogant brat. He is an unlikable idiot bully character who annoys Batgirl and the other superhero girls. And yeah, they kind of character assassinate Dick Grayson on this show, so a lot of people were really hoping this was Damian Wayne and that the show was making fun of him, making fun of his worst habits and having him humiliated by Batgirl and the superhero girls as they take that towards the most unpopular sidekick. No, Lauren Faust confirmed this is Dick Grayson. He's a dick because Lauren Faust, as she said, well, it's funny because his name is Dick, so it felt appropriate that he act like one. Yeah, this is already stupid. Dick Grayson is basically a crybaby brat who wants to be Batman's greatest sidekick, rubs it in everyone's faces that, oh, Batman trusts me, Batman likes me, I'm Batman's #1 sidekick, and he sucks, he fails, he screws up at life, he's kind of the Sentinel Prime of the show. He thinks he's better than everyone, only to get constantly humiliated, wrecked, and defeated, and basically he's this toxic man that Barbara has to one-up, even though Batgirl is clearly a much more competent and better sidekick than him. One of the most satisfying moments is Batman finally fires Robin, leaves him for dead in the gutter, and Batgirl becomes the new sidekick, which kind of feels out of character for Bruce Wayne because Dick is also his son. Though it's also kind of weird because Dick Grayson is like 10 years old and Bruce is 18 in the show, which is really weird. He was like able to adopt him at that age, but whatever. Yeah, DC Superhero Girls, Dick Grayson, he sucks. He's annoying, he's unfunny, he's unlikable. He's the Sentinel Prime of the show. Every episode he's in, he instantly ruins it. Basically, he's this entitled man baby, always complaining to get what he wants, always throwing fits, always rubbing it in Batgirl's face that, I'm so much better than that stupid brat girl, you're not as cool as me, gave him an annoying nerd voice, and he always gets humiliated. Batgirl has to save his sorry ass multiple times, and they even make fun of Teen Titans Go through him. Like Barbara's friends have to babysit Dick Grayson and the Toddler Titans. This Robin makes Teen Titans Go look like a saint compared to him. Yeah, exactly. I do not like this Robin. He kind of emphasizes one of my biggest fears, that DC hates Nightwing. DC has been kind of shaming and humiliating Hal Jordan and Dick Grayson, and this is easily one of the lowest points for Dick Grayson. He sucks. The only reason why he's above Teen Titans Go Robin is he actually does suffer comeuppance. He gets humiliated, gets beaten, gets outwitted by those stupid sissy girls. He sucks. He really sucks. I'm putting him onto Bird Brain, easily one of the worst Robins ever. Also, it's unfair that DC Superhero Girls got canceled after 2 seasons while Teen Titans Go renewed. Join the club, Anime Knights. A lot of good Cartoon Network shows got canceled after 1 or 2 seasons, while Teen Titans Go is on its 11th season. Yeah, Cartoon Network, you banked on the wrong horse. Yeah, anyways, this Robin, he also sucks. Going on to Bird Brain. They completely humiliate Dick Grayson on this show, and he is just as bad as Teen Titans Go Robin. Easily a Bird Brain. Alright, next I'll knock off Caped Crusader Robin, who is going on to Mehwing. Yeah, I'll put him under Brenton Thwaites. This is Dick Grayson, an orphan child at Leslie Tompkins' orphanage, and it's a cameo. Yeah, that's really all it is. It's a cameo. Leslie Tompkins runs an orphanage in the Caped Crusader show, and we see a lot of the future Bat Family sidekicks at this orphanage. Dick Grayson is one of them. He's there with Jason Todd, Carrie Kelly, and Stephanie Brown, and yeah, it's a cameo. We find out his name. He's actually Dickie. Yeah, they call him Dickie in this show, and yeah, it's a cameo. Going on to Mehwing. Like Justice League Action, that was actually a fun cartoon with some good comedy and only had 1 season. Yeah, that was short-lived too. Justice League Action was pretty fun. Felt like a nice cross between the humor Teen Titans Go was aiming for, but also the DCAU. And Bruce Timm also worked on that show with a lot of the former DCAU voice cast. That show should have been on longer. Speaking of cameos, we also have Gotham by Gaslight Dick Grayson. Yeah, Dick Grayson is in Gotham by Gaslight. And also going on to Mehwing, I'll put him above Brendan Thwaites because it was actually a good movie. Okay, this is Dick Grayson, another orphan child. Batman fights these street thieves who are working for this abusive guy. This abusive gangster guy forces children to steal stuff for him. And we see Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Tim Drake as cute little street orphans, kind of like Oliver Twist. And Batman ends up saving them, where they in turn help save Batman when he's threatened by Jack the Ripper. And unfortunately, he doesn't really get to do much. It was a big twist that these are the Robins, all three of the Robins, Dick, Jason, and Tim Drake. Once again, it's kind of a glorified cameo, and he didn't really get to do much. He's not a huge character in it, but they help Batman escape from the collapsing amusement park. They save him, they keep his identity secret, and it's implied Batman is going to give these boys a loving, healthy home. He adopts Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Tim Drake, hinting that they're going to be the Robins in the Gotham by Gaslight world. Gotham by Gaslight, honestly, is a pretty good movie. Unfortunately, Dick Grayson didn't get to do much in it, which is why he's going on to Mehwing. Alright, next we'll knock off... let's also knock off Tomorrowverse Robin, who is, once again, it's a cameo. It's just a cameo, yeah. Robin, Dick Grayson Robin, shows up in Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is the big Tomorrowverse finale event. It's the end of their direct-to-video DC films, and Dick Grayson Robin shows up fighting alongside the Bat family. He's with Helena Wayne Huntress, with Red Hood, and with Will Friedel's Terry McGinnis Batman. And yeah, this is the only reason why this character was in the movie. He makes a cameo where we get to see Dick Grayson and Terry McGinnis fighting bad guys together. Good movie, but unfortunately many of the Batman characters we know are there just to, well, exist. Yeah, it's kind of a problem too. Anyways, Tomorrowverse Robin, it's a cameo. It's just a cameo. He's there, he beats up shadow demons, helps fight the Anti-Monitor, and he joins the Monoverse. He's kind of in the background through most of it, and he's only there so we can say, OMG, look, it's all these Elseworld Bat Family characters together on screen. Dick Grayson is fighting with Terry McGinnis Batman. Dick Grayson finally gets to meet Helena Wayne. It's a lot of member berries and the reference kind of writing. Yeah, going on to Mehwing. Next, I'll knock off Batman the Brave and the Bold Nightwing, who, unfortunately, going on to Batboy, I think he's okay. Yeah, I'll put him above the Scooby-Doo Robin. Alright, so, believe it or not, Dick Grayson was a reoccurring character on Batman the Brave and the Bold. I love the Brave and the Bold show, however, I often forget Dick Grayson was even a part of it. So, Dick starts out as Robin. He is Robin at first, and he is trying to leave under Batman's shadow. The reasons why he quits being Batman's sidekick are vastly different compared to the animated series. Dick Grayson is tired of being treated like a kid. Batman is full-blown overprotective dad in this series. He completely defends Robin, always watches him, treats him like the kid, and Robin is forced to sit in the sidecar. I thought you liked the sidecar, Robin. Yeah, when I was 12. Bruce, I outgrew that. Robin is tired that Batman always treats him like a baby, that he's a kid, that he's a sidekick, and Dick Grayson undergoes his own coming-of-age story, where he becomes Nightwing and becomes a strong, independent man. So, that actually sounds pretty good, all fine and dandy, so what's the problem? Well, unfortunately, they don't really go as far as you'd think with that story, and they chose the worst Nightwing suit. If you can't tell, this is The infamous 70s and 80s Nightwing suit, where he looks more like a dancer than a superhero, and I did not like this look, and the build up to him becoming Nightwing felt so unearned. Dick wants to be his own man. He fights his own archenemy, Crazy Quilt, and Robin finally shows he is independent and he's a growing man. He saves Batman from Crazy Quilt. Crazy Quilt was a psycho obsessed with Robin since he blinded him, but Robin proves that he is his own man. Batman finally respects him. Then come the Sidekicks Assemble episode, where all the sidekicks now have to prove themselves to the adult superheroes. Dick Grayson befriends Garth, Aqualad, and Speedy, Roy Harper, where the sidekicks try to save the day and defeat Ra's al Ghul. Robin hilariously has a crush on Talia al Ghul. He brags that, oh, Talia's super into me. That's my future girlfriend. It's kind of funny, and Talia full-blown rejects him right in front of his boy posse, which is pretty funny. Yeah, he kept bragging that Talia will be into me, which is really awkward because Talia's into his dad. It's really weird. Still on my watch list, by the way, debating on Beware the Batman, though. Honestly, they're both pretty good. Beware the Batman is much shorter, though, only lasting one season, so check that out if you must. But Brave and the Bold, a kick-ass show, too. But yeah, Nightwing, he becomes Nightwing at the end of this episode. The sidekicks save the day, they defeat Ra's al Ghul, and in this version, Ra's al Ghul wants Dick Grayson to become his heir. He wants Robin to become the new head demon, which I was kind of into, thought it was an interesting idea. Unfortunately, it doesn't really go anywhere. Ra's wants Batman to join him on the dark side and they can rule the galaxy. Robin, of course, says hell no. They fight and he beats Ra's al Ghul's ass. Ra's al Ghul loses to the sidekicks, and Robin finally wants to go his own way, becoming his own man, donning the mantle Nightwing. And it happens at the end of this episode. He only gets 2 episodes where we see him as Nightwing, and it's honestly kind of disappointing. He's Nightwing for only a few episodes later. Nightwing and Batgirl do not get to do much on Brave and the Bold because it's more about the obscure superheroes or villains. Yeah, he becomes Nightwing full-time, gets the stupid 70s looking suit, and he and Batgirl are guarding Gotham while Batman's on his Justice League missions. Also, Nightwing has a phobia of monkeys. Yeah, that's actually a thing. Nightwing is deathly afraid of monkeys, apparently. It is really funny, but also really weird. Yeah, they help Batman fight Riddler and Batwoman together. Nightwing proves that he is his own man, and unfortunately he kind of disappears on the sidelines, not doing much, which is why I'm going to put him onto Batboy. He's an okay Dick. Yeah, highly recommend Brave and the Bold Shadowlink. It is fun, a lot more lighthearted. It takes a lot of cues from the Adam West style of Batman, but also has a lot of love for the DCAU and the Nolanverse. Pretty much everything Batman gets love in this cartoon. It is a great show. It is fantastic. However, it is long. It lasted 4 to 5 seasons, and definitely an acquired taste if you don't like their humor. Though Beware the Batman is pretty underrated too, just kind of forgettable. It does have its highlights, but not what I would call a must-watch Batman show. But still, Brave and the Bold Nightwing going on to Batboy. He is okay, but definitely outclassed by a lot of greater characters from that series. Alright, make a pretty good time. I think we should knock off another cameo. This is Final Frontier Dick Grayson. Oh yeah, remember? Robin was in Justice League The Final Frontier. Or is it The New Frontier? Anyway, he's going on to Batboy. Yeah, I'll put him under Super Friends Robin. Yeah, this is Justice League The New Frontier. Robin shows up and it's a cameo. Batman actually undergoes a really interesting character arc in this movie. Batman is worried that the public are afraid of him, so he adopts Robin to show that he actually cares about children. Yeah, That is seriously the reason why he gets Robin in this movie. Dick Grayson shows up, declaring that he's Batman's sidekick and helping him on the sidelines in the movie, showing that Bruce is kind of coming out of his shell, showing he cares about people, and that Bruce does care about children. Batman adopted Robin because he wants to show that he's not a scary, cold-hearted guy. That is actually the character arc Bruce gets in the New Frontier movie. And unfortunately, Dick Grayson is kind of a cameo. He's there, he gets a few snappy one-liners, and Superman sees Robin for the first time, giving Bruce like a pat on the back saying, "Wow, good for you, Bruce. Glad to see you're growing." But yeah, it's a cameo. Going on to Batboy. Okay. Much better cameo than the Tomorrowverse Dick Grayson, that's for sure. Alright, next I'll knock off... Lego Nightwing. Lego Nightwing, of course, going on to S tier. Sorry, Burt Ward, he'll go above you. Yeah, I love Lego Batman. If you've been watching these tier lists, you know I enjoy the Lego Batman games. Except for 3, that one sucked. Nightwing, pretty cool. I actually discovered Nightwing through this video game. He's this cool guy with the Goku hair and the weird lightsaber or Scrimina sticks. Yeah, Nightwing's pretty fun, and he gets the same abilities. He can go on the power pads and get a lot of Batman's abilities, like the sonar, the fire retardant suit, the camouflage suit, and the bomb suit. Yeah, basically he is kind of a second Batman. If you don't want to replay the game as Batman, you could always have Nightwing or Batgirl. No, wait, he gets the Robin abilities. That's right, he gets the magnet shoes. He gets the fire retardant suit, the deep diver suit. Pretty fun. But yeah, like everything about the Lego Batman games, this Nightwing, a lot of fun. He had several voice actors over the course of the series. Quentin Flynn, I believe, voiced him once. He also did him in the Arkhamverse. Then Josh Keaton did him. And I believe, like, currently Yuri Lowenthal did him. Yeah, Lego Batman, pretty fun. I'm gonna put him on to Flying Grayson. He is definitely one of the funnest characters to play as in the game, especially if you don't want to repeat as Robin. Nightwing is badass, and they gave him a really epic Lego design. Going on to Flying Grayson. Alright, next, who should I do? Got a lot of interesting Nightwings left. Next, I think I'll knock off Batman Unlimited Nightwing, who is going on to Slick's sidekick. Yeah, we got Batman Unlimited Nightwing. Have you guys remembered that Batman Unlimited was a series that exists? Well, Nightwing is in it, and he's actually a main character. Nightwing is played by Will Friedle, who pretty much brings his Terry McGinnis voice to the role. Yeah, it's pretty awesome hearing Will Friedle back as Nightwing. Nightwing is pretty much exactly like Terry, full of snappy one-liners, fun-loving, laid back, and unfortunately they do give him his New 52 look, where Nightwing got that stupid red look. Yeah, how did you guys feel about the weird red bird he got? I thought it was kind of a dead giveaway that it was like, you know, this guy used to be Robin. I like Nightwing in the Batman Unlimited series. Not too deep of a character, but we do see he's a lot more competent. It was kind of their way of bringing Will Friedle back to his Terry McGinnis game without actually having Batman Beyond as the character. Yeah, Will Friedle is pretty much just Terry McGinnis, but as Nightwing, and that's why he wins points. It is fun hearing him again, seeing him kick ass. Nightwing has a fight with Cheetah. He fights the Scarecrow, and this is why he's on A tier. Nightwing actually beats the Scarecrow. He built up an immunity to the fear gas. Nightwing is treated much better in these movies than he is in the New 52 films. Now that is interesting that he voiced Terry and Nightwing in DC. Yeah, Will Friedle actually gets to voice Dick Grayson. And yeah, Dick Grayson is pretty much written exactly like Terry McGinnis in these movies. Fun character. I'm gonna put him onto Slick's sidekick. He is definitely A material. And so glad to hear Terry McGinnis back in the saddle. Yeah, it is interesting. Will Friedle played played Batman, but now he's playing Nightwing, because a lot of people compared Terry to Dick Grayson, and here he actually gets to play the main man himself. Going on to Slick's sidekick. Batman Unlimited is a lot more child-friendlier Batman material, but it's kind of fun. I do enjoy it. It has fun with the crazy antics and universe it has. Might not be a must-watch, but if you really want to see it, go ahead. Yeah, seeing Will Friedle back as Nightwing, definitely a reason to watch it. Going on to Slick's sidekick. Okay, next, let's bump off. We got Michael Cera as Robin. Yes, Michael Cera played Dick Grayson on the Lego Batman movie, and I know some people might be upset, but he's going on to Slick's sidekick. I will put him above Chris O'Donnell, but under the Batman Robin. This is Dick Grayson, an orphan boy that Bruce Wayne adopts, played by Michael Cera of all people. And if you saw the Lego Batman movie, you know this is a much more funnier, lighthearted depiction of the character. Michael Cera plays Dick Grayson as this kind of quirky, weird social outcast character. He wants to be adopted. Bruce adopts him. He becomes Robin to be like his sidekick, and he has this very, very lovable child energy to him, which makes him oodles of fun. It's very clear Dick Grayson is a lot older than the Lego would imply, but he acts like a juvenile child. Oh, this is so fun, Batman. I get to be your sidekick. I'm Robin to your Batman. You're not my sidekick. Well, I get to be your son. You're not my son. And he kind of annoys Batman for half the movie until he needs Robin. Yeah, basically, Batman becomes a father. Batman becomes a dad to Dick Grayson and starts opening up to him, starts realizing that this boy needs a mentor figure. They become best friends, and Lego Batman's movie is about Batman opening up more, coming out of his shell, forming his Bat family, and Dick Grayson is kind of his sidekick for at least half of it, until he finally earns Bruce's respect and becomes Robin. Bruce falls in love with Barbara Gordon in this movie. Barbara is aged up. Batgirl is a lot older. He adopts Dick Grayson. At first it's for PR, then using Dick Grayson to break into the Fortress of Solitude. But Robin starts to make an impression on Batman. Batman starts bonding with Dick Grayson more, starts loving him, and starts treating him like his son, and together they fight to defeat the Joker, where Batman and Joker become best frenemies. It is a very hilarious movie, and Lego Batman the movie was ironically one of the best DC movies that came out in that era. Yeah, I think his Robin definitely funny. I'll put him on Slick's sidekick. Though Michael Cera would not be my go-to Dick Grayson, honestly, but still, enjoyable movie, enjoyable character, definitely an interesting take. They made him look like a male Carrie Kelly, but yeah, he'll go on to A tier, Slick sidekick. Alright, next we'll bump off the Doom That Came to Gotham Dick Grayson, who also going on to Mehwing. Yeah, I'll put him under Gotham by Gaslight Dick Grayson, because this Dick Grayson is pretty much the child who dies. Yeah, that's all his role is. Dick Grayson is one of Batman's young ward proteges. Batman has the Bat family starting in this movie, and Dick Grayson is there, but he's kind of a side character. Dick Grayson is one of Batman's tech guys. He lives on a boat, and he's taking care of Bruce's foster children. We see Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Cassandra Cain. Dick Grayson is kind of the older brother mentor figure toward them. He is wearing these special specs because he does a lot of the science for Bruce, as Bruce discovers that Lovecraft monsters are in Gotham. And Dick Grayson is kind of there. He acts more like the oracle of the team, always giving Bruce intel, always looking into information, helping him with the simple detective work. He is a bit character, and unfortunately he dies. Dick Grayson returns to the boat where they trap Mr. Freeze on, and Mr. Freeze pretty much kills them. Mr. Freeze freezes the room, Jason Todd is killed because he froze to death, and Dick Grayson pretty much gets wrecked and killed. Yeah, Dick dies, and it's supposed to inspire Bruce to fight these Lovecraft demons head on. Yeah, unfortunately, he didn't get to do much. Going on to Mehwing, he's the helper until he's one of the horror movie victims. Definitely a disappointing take on Dick Grayson, and he never even gets to be Nightwing or Robin. Going on to Mehwing. Alright, let's talk about a good one. Let's knock off Injustice Nightwing, who also going on to Slick's sidekick. Dick Grayson is not in Injustice 2, but he is in Injustice 1. This is the Prime Universe Dick Grayson, who is still currently Nightwing. Nightwing helps in the Injustice storyline, where they open up the portal to fight Regime Superman. Regime Superman and the Prime DC Universe cross paths. Lex Luthor needs some heroes to help take down the evil dictator Superman, and of course, Nightwing is one of them. Nightwing is helping the Justice League complete their mission and take down the evil Superman regime, fighting the Injustice. And in a twist, we find out Nightwing is dead in this universe. Dick Grayson is fighting who he thinks is his counterpart, only to realize, oh no, Nightwing is not Dick Grayson anymore, it's Damian Wayne. Damian Wayne killed Dick Grayson in this universe, leading to evil Damian Wayne fighting Dick Grayson for the most satisfying fight scene ever, because Dick Grayson is the better sidekick. Yeah, Dick Grayson as Nightwing fights evil Nightwing. We're led to believe that this is his evil counterpart, but no. It's actually Damian Wayne killed Dick Grayson in this universe and took the mantle over, becoming the new Nightwing. And you can tell it's Damian Wayne because he wears the red version. You can tell this is Dick Grayson because he wears the classic blue. The Nightwings basically fight, and Dick Grayson finally proves that he's the better Bat Family sidekick, which is why he's going on to A tier. Unfortunately, that's kind of where his character ends, unless you play the arcade ending, where Dick Grayson gets a more noble ending after defeating Regime Superman, but he's not the Nightwing in the Regime universe, he's the Nightwing in the Prime universe, and yeah, he's pretty cool. Like him, like his fighting skills, and you get a Teen Titans reunion. He fights Raven, can fight a DLC Cyborg. No, Cyborg's the main character. I believe, yeah, Raven, Cyborg, and Starfire became a DLC. Yeah, it's pretty interesting that Terry McGinnis voiced Nightwing on Unlimited. Yeah, Injustice Nightwing, pretty cool, great fighting game character, a lot of kick-ass movesets, a lot of great action, and a really awesome design. He's going on to Slick's sidekick. Unfortunately, Dick Grayson would not return for Injustice 2 because they brought Damian Wayne as Robin back. I know, really brilliant choice, right? Alright, next let's do Neil Patrick Harris Dick Grayson from Batman Under the Red Hood. Okay, he almost makes it onto S tier, but I'm afraid I'm gonna have to put him onto Slick's sidekick. Yep, Neil Patrick Harris played Nightwing in Batman Under the Red Hood. I love Under the Red Hood. Nightwing, I did enjoy. Patrick Harris's voice, unfortunately, took some time growing attached to. Now, NPH is not a bad actor at all, but his Nightwing, definitely kind of a mixed bag. He had funny moments, he had badass moments, but the reason why he's not in S tier is he gets taken out halfway through. Damian, Superman was a better father than you, and you treat me like a son. You stopped being my son when you killed Dick Grayson. He was my son. Yeah, most satisfying moment in Injustice. And even more satisfying replaying Injustice 1, where Dick Grayson's Nightwing can beat up Damian Wayne. Okay, anyways, Neil Patrick Harris's Nightwing, I thought he actually was fine. NPH did a pretty good job. He captured the smooth, charming Dick Grayson, a lot more playful, a lot more laid back in this movie. Dick Grayson is the comic relief character for the most part. He shows up to help Batman combat the evil Red Hood. They foil a delivery job gone wrong, fight Amazo together. Yeah, he does have badass skills. He uses the Escrima sticks, takes out Amazo's head. They use the explosive gel on his face. They defeat Amazo together, so yeah, Nightwing is pretty badass. Unfortunately, halfway through, Nightwing gets taken out. They chase the Red Hood together, and Nightwing takes a bomb that ends up breaking his leg. Yeah, he's pretty badass, but yeah, Nightwing gets crippled and is out for the rest of the movie. Bruce says, "Thank you for your help. You can go back to Bloodhaven. I'll take it from here." And yeah, the movie kind of abruptly and awkwardly sweeps Dick Grayson out of the film because now it's about Bruce and his son Jason coming head to head. I will say I do like the design. NPH did a pretty good voice for him, though I wish he stayed in the film longer, or at least got some proper closure. Last we see, Dick Grayson's leg is healed, and he's back in Bloodhaven, watching the news epilogue, and that's the end of this Nightwing. Yeah, this Nightwing, honestly pretty good. I'll put him on to A tier because it's pretty great seeing a competent Nightwing again. He's kick-ass, he backs Batman up, has some funny moments, NPH is charming, has a few funny one-liners here and there. Unfortunately, he's getting rid of. The movie, kicks him out very quickly, so we can have more character development for Jason Todd. I understand that, but it's still kind of disappointing, but I'll put him on to A tier. I kind of feel the same way when NPH voiced Spider-Man in the short-lived Spider-Man show that was in the early 2000s that only had 13 episodes. Yeah, I'm thinking about watching that and doing a tier list on it too. A lot of people told me it was good, but NPH kind of brings his Spider-Man game to Nightwing. Yeah, I'll put him on to A tier. Definitely a good attempt. He'll be a slick sidekick. Alright, we're actually narrowing things down. Okay, next let's get rid of Gotham Knights Nightwing, who is going on to Batboy. Yeah, I will put him above Brave and the Bold Nightwing at least. Guys, do you remember Gotham Knights? The video game that was supposed to replace the Arkham series. Nightwing was one of the 4 playable characters in it. It's basically Batman's sidekicks fighting crime in Gotham without him. Batman is killed in battle fighting Ra's al Ghul, forcing the Bat family sidekicks to step up and handle crime in Gotham. Unfortunately, with the Dark Knight seemingly dead, the Court of Owls is making its move to take over the city, where Nightwing, Red Hood, Robin, and Batgirl work together to foil this evil conspiracy and defeat the Court of Owls and Talia al Ghul once and for all. And Nightwing was fine. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. His combat was much better than the other 4 players. I do like Batgirl a lot more because she's my favorite sidekick, but Nightwing's a playable character in this game. He undergoes some character developments. They all try to overcome the death of Bruce and how they have to handle crime without him. They have to step up. It's their coming of age story, but it's forgettable. Gotham Knights is not at all a good game. It's not the worst thing ever, but not really all that entertaining. It did not at all usurp the greatness of the Arkhamverse saga. It is a mediocre game, so appropriately it has a mediocre take on Nightwing. They captured the look, captured the fighting skills, and the guy playing him does very well, but it's passable. It's a passable Nightwing. I didn't really love him all that much, but didn't really have it in me to say he was the worst Nightwing ever. He's more known for comedy, but he did fine as Spider-Man and Nightwing. Yeah, that's kind of sums up NPH's kind of take on action characters. Okay, so I don't have too much to say about Gotham Knights because honestly I kind of forgot most of that game. It was not at all enjoyable. It felt more like a chore to play through, and the characters didn't really display much character. That was the biggest problem with Gotham Knights. It felt like basic bare bones Batman, and unfortunately I was not satisfied with Nightwing's story, and based on how many people in my chat don't even remember that game, it seems like, yeah, he belongs here right square in the middle. Not the worst Nightwing ever, but definitely not all that good either. He wins points because he's an actual playable character, but yeah, very basic Nightwing. Going on to Batboy. Never really had problems with the main core four. Thing is, it was too safe, and them and the game as a whole could have been so much more. Exactly. That is the exact consensus of Gotham Knights. They didn't do much with this saga. Like, remember how big a deal it was that Arkham City killed off the Joker and Hugo Strange? Yeah, that was a game that wasn't afraid to take risks. Gotham Knights is afraid to take risks, which is why its Nightwing is going on to Batboy. Okay, next, let's get rid of New 52 Nightwing, who, unfortunately, is also going on to Mehwing. This is the New 52 Nightwing, and he could have easily been one of the greatest characters of the saga. The New 52 movies were a mixed bag. We had some good, but some god-awful films, and Nightwing was done so dirty in this series. This is the Damian Wayne saga, as fans like to call it, where Nightwing basically existed to be a punching bag. Every time Nightwing would show up, he would get cucked, beaten, and humiliated by whatever threat came out in that movie. He barely defeats Damian Wayne in combat. Yeah, a young adult experienced Nightwing Dick Grayson gets his ass beat by a 10-year-old boy. Yeah, he barely defeats Damian Wayne, he gets beaten up by Slade, gets beaten up by the Court of Owls Talon, gets beaten up by Hush, gets beaten up by the Scarecrow. Nightwing was pretty much a punching bag for these entire movies, and it actually became a meme and running gag how Nightwing would be set up as a badass only to lose in every fight he's ever been in. Nightwing never gained a victory until the god-awful adaptation of the Judas Contract. Out of context, the title just sounds weird. Yeah, it does. Gotham Knights, it's far from bad, but pretty much mediocre in general. Yeah, the Arkhamverse, it was not. Okay, so if you don't remember, this Nightwing was in Son of the Batman, Batman vs. Robin, Batman Bad Blood, which ironically tried to give him a character arc, and it did not succeed for me, where Batman is captured by the League of Assassins, forcing Dick Grayson to become Batman. If you don't know, in the comics, Bruce Wayne was presumed dead. DC finally had the balls to kill off Bruce Wayne Batman, where we had all these different comics where one of these sidekicks would take up the cowl, and the first ever character to replace Batman in the actual comics was Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson becomes Gotham City's new Batman, and yeah, fans have always been kind of split on this idea that one of the Bat Family sidekicks would take up the cowl and protect Gotham in Bruce's name, and it felt very unearned, not at all dramatic, and very shallow, honestly. Yeah, it's hyped up as a big deal that Dick Grayson becomes Batman in this movie, and we get to see what Dick Grayson is like as the Dark Knight. We see Dick protect Gotham and Batman's steed, try to raise Damian Wayne right, try to be the leader of the Bat Family, but clearly struggling because being Batman is not easy, and yeah, Batman Bad Blood is a garbage movie, and this subplot did not win any fans over. Don't like the title, huh? Just some random guy who comments. I thought it would attract attention. But yeah, Batman Bad Blood, it sucks. Dick Grayson acts as Batman. It's clear he's not good at it. Near the end of the movie, he finally toughens up, grows a spine, and the Bat Family ends up saving Bruce Wayne, breaking him out of his brainwashing, and defeating that evil psycho bitch Talia al Ghul, where Dick returns the cowl straight away to Bruce, making his plot kind of pointless. Then he becomes a funny sidekick for the rest of the series. Judas Contract tried to redeem him, tried to show that Nightwing was a capable hero. He almost gets killed by Deathstroke. Then he ends up saving the day. Unfortunately, this movie is also god-awful. I did not like Teen Titans Judas Contract, the movie. It's the movie, not the comic. The comic is good. The movie itself, not at all good. Dick Grayson almost gets killed, but he ends up being the hero who saves the Teen Titans to show you that he is a competent superhero, but it was kind of too little, too late. Plus, Nightwing doesn't even defeat Slade, it's Tara. Like in the comic, Tara is the one who kills Slade. They try to save Tara, but she ends up dying, and Nightwing becomes the leader of the Teen Titans. He's back in the saddle, he's with these younger superheroes, and he and Starfire instantly try rekindling their romance, and yeah, I do like Starfire in the New 52 verse. They emphasize how hot she is. They made Kari Wahlgren voice her, and she and Dick actually have a romance, which lasts all the way to the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War movie. Another bad movie. Nightwing becomes one of the few resistance fighters, then he's turned into a robot cyborg by Apocalypse. Yeah, he becomes a evil cyborg. Starfire ends up fighting him, saving him, and Starfire and Dick hold each other one last time before the Flash resets the universe, creating the Tomorrowverse. And yeah, I was not too keen on this guy. Basically, Dick Grayson served as a punching bag. He got dwarfed. He gets beaten up by every villain to show you how tough the evil villain is. That was his big role in this entire saga, and he's just the comic relief standing on the sidelines. He's a meh-wing. Okay, I gotta use the bathroom again and get more water, but tell me who you guys want to see next. We're on the final 5, making pretty good progress. I'll be right back, just gotta get more to drink and to use the restroom. Tell me which of the 5 dicks you want to see next. Only a few left. Alright, I'm back. Guess we'll save Arkhamverse for last. I guess we'll do Dark Knight Rises one next, which I'm mixed as a whole, like with the whole movie. Okay. Alright, final 5. Let's do John Blake. Oh boy. Remember this character? This is Robin. Yes, that's his actual name. Robin John Blake from The Dark Knight Rises, who... Going on to Batboy. Yeah, and very low. I am very mixed on this character. This is Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character from The Dark Knight Rises. Back when Joseph Gordon-Levitt was in everything, I swear, they tried pushing this guy so hard as a big Hollywood star, then he kind of disappeared. Yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was fine as the cop throughout the movie, but him as Robin, it comes out of nowhere. Fully agree, so... John Blake is kind of a stand-in for Robin. He's every one of the sidekicks of Batman in a hybrid character. He's part Dick Grayson, part Jason Todd, part Tim Drake, and a little bit of Carrie Kelly mixed in. He's an orphan who once admired Batman, and I think this actually would have been interesting John Blake was an orphan. He grew up to become a cop, amounted his life to something better, became something good, inspired by The Dark Knight. He looked up to Batman, and he's kind of the moral compass to Bruce in this movie. He somehow figured out that Bruce Wayne was Batman because Batman did the same facial expression, this look on his face that he recognized that Bruce Wayne had. And he put two and two together, realizing that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Yeah, it is total BS. Dark Knight Rises is not a good movie, and some of the writing feels really forced. He tries to convince Batman to get back in the cowl, get back in the saddle, help save Gotham from this new threat. Bane is in town, and Bane is bringing Gotham City to its knees. We see a lot of the GCPD drama, mostly through Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. We see how the cops are struggling, all the polarizing opinions about Batman. Some cops love him, some still hate him, and he is trying to get Bruce to do the right thing, kind of helping him. He came from an orphanage, and that's kind of the connection we have, foreshadowing that he's Robin or something. I'm gonna be honest, this character could have been deleted from the movie entirely, and it would not have affected a thing. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is just there. His subplot really goes nowhere, and he's just one of the good police officers inspiring the cops to rally behind Batman, help bring Batman back to his mojo, back in the saddle, back to his greatness. He fanboys over Batman, unites all the cops, he's there in the final stand against Bane's armada, and out of nowhere, Bruce passes on the Batcave to John Blake. Yeah, this guy who's barely been a part of the film, he's Robin. That's his real name. He's actually Robin. He is the Robin character of the Nolanverse, and Bruce passes on the entire Batcave to this guy he's like known for like a year. Like, it comes out of nowhere, and they actually tease that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is going to become Batman for a sequel or spin-off that never happened. Yeah, I did not like this ending where we see Bruce retired with Selina in Italy and they're getting it on. Alfred sees them, showing that Bruce is alive and he had his happily ever after with Catwoman. Yeah, you lucky SOB. And then Joseph Gordon-Levitt discovers the Batcave and activates it, hinting that he's going to become the new Dark Knight. Bruce passes the mantle on to this guy he barely knows, and it's hinted that we were going to get a continuation or the legend lives on type of ending, but it feels so unearned. Like, this guy barely did anything throughout this movie. Honestly, his scenes could have been deleted and the whole thing would have felt the same. He's just there for the big ending of, oh, will he become the new Batman? No, he doesn't, because they never picked up this story in all these years later. As soon as that person says, why don't you use your real name, Robin, I literally went, what? Yeah, it is so weird. This character gets so much screen time and focus. They were building up to a big reveal that he's actually a comic character. I was curious who. I thought this guy was actually going to be like a young Harvey Bullock or something, but no. He's Robin. This is the Nolanverse version of Robin. And it is so baffling, confusing, full of that WTF kind of thought process. And Robin becomes Batman at the end, and yeah, it is a bizarre, unsatisfying ending. Joseph Gordon-Levitt honestly does fine. I thought his character was decent, but it did not go the direction I thought it would. It's like so baffling. You know, I actually might dump him down to meh wing. I don't want to be mean because JDL is actually a pretty good, sorry, misspelled his name. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is a good actor, but this character is just weird. Yeah, I think I might dump him down one onto meh wing. Yeah, he's not going on to who because I do know him. This was a bizarre take on Dick Grayson slash Robin, and in my opinion, not a very good one. He's going on to Mehwing. That twist at the end was super dumb. He is below average. I'm not even sure we should have counted him on this list, but yeah, whatever. Speaking of bad Robins, let's also knock off Nightwing from Harley Quinn, who is going on to Birdbrain. I did not like how the Harley Quinn show portrayed Dick Grayson slash Nightwing. Nightwing is introduced, I believe, in season 3 of the Harley Quinn show, and he's introduced as this bizarre, kooky weirdo who gets emasculated and humiliated by Harley Quinn every time. Yeah, this is pretty much solid proof that DC does not like Dick Grayson because he exists to be a stupid himbo who Harley Quinn humiliates. Dick Grayson is moving into Gotham and has this kind of immature edgelord personality to him. He's narrating to himself, acting dramatic, acting all dead serious, that he's a uber badass, and Harley Quinn basically kicks his ass, humiliates him, and kind of emasculates him all throughout. There's a running gag that Nightwing has buns of steel, that every woman in the show likes his butt, and they kind of objectify him, which feels super sexist and cringy. Nightwing deserves better. Absolutely. Nightwing is pretty much disgraced on this show. They keep making jokes about how he has a nice ass, which, yeah, I know he does. Even Gail Simone liked it, but it is very kind of borderline offensive that they objectify him, treat him like a hot piece of ass, and then completely abuse and mistreat him. Harley Quinn always emasculates him, gives him like purple nurples, throws him across the room, makes him into a laughingstock, and the icing on the cake, the reason why he's down here on F tier, is Harley Quinn kills him. Yes, Harley Quinn kills Nightwing. In the next season, there's this murder mystery over somebody killed Nightwing, and they're trying to find out who. And the big twist is, it was Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn got drunk and sleptwalked. She's like sleepwalking throughout Gotham City in the winter. Nightwing tried to bring her in, only for him to get his ass kicked and killed by a half-dazed Harley Quinn. Yes, Harley Quinn killed Nightwing. Harley Quinn strangles him, saying that she's a badass hero better than him, and Nightwing is killed. Harley Quinn finds out that the killer was her this whole time, and then Nightwing comes back as Red X. Talia al Ghul becomes the arch villain next season, and revives Dick Grayson from the dead, turning him into her own personal super soldier, Red X, because all we have are member berries. Remember when Dick Grayson was Red X from Teen Titans? That's what they do instead of Red Hood. He becomes Red X and he's alive again, and I presume they're gonna try and get him back to his hero mantle, but yeah, I do not like their take on Nightwing. Agreed, Shadow. Nightwing deserves better. The Harley Quinn show completely humiliated and disgraced Nightwing. That's why he's going on to Birdbrain. Alright, final 3. Let's do Batman Ninja Nightwing. What? Ninja Batman? This Nightwing going on to Batboy also. Alright, I thought this character was fine, but this is Nightwing from Batman Ninja. If you don't remember, there was this CGI anime movie called Batman Ninja. I believe it's still free on YouTube. I actually recommend checking it out because I do love their Catwoman. But Nightwing is one of the Bat Family sidekicks who was absorbed in Gorilla Grodd's time machine. And he shows up here in Japan leading the Bat Samurai. Yeah, this movie is pretty crazy. Nightwing, Red Hood, and Damian Wayne, Robin of all characters, are trying to form the Bat Family into the Bat Clan. And Nightwing is there, basically on the sidelines, helping Bruce and Selina. I need some water. Yeah, Nightwing's here, and he helps them topple Gorilla Grodd and the villain's empire. It is a pretty fun and insane movie. Batman's villains have become evil samurai ninja senseis, leading their own turf war over feudal Japan. Nightwing helps them take down some of the corrupt rogues gallery, and that's kind of about it. He's there because we wanted to get as many Batman characters as possible into this movie. I thought he was fine. Going on to Batboy. What's worse than Nightwing got humiliated by Harley Quinn in 2 DC properties, the Harley Quinn show and the Batman Harley Quinn movie? Yeah, that was also terrible. But thank goodness we have the animated series Nightwing up higher, because in the actual show he was good. In Bruce Timm's parody fanfic he was disgraced. Yeah, I don't know why, but DC has this huge hate boner for Nightwing. Harley Quinn humiliated him. The Harley Quinn and Batman movie humiliated the good Nightwing. We have this man-child Dick Grayson and Superhero Girls, and Teen Titans Go exists, and the New 52 movies made Nightwing a punching bag. I don't know why DC has a hate boner for Dick Grayson, because Dick is so good. Anyways, Batman Ninja Dick Grayson, going on to Batboy. Final 2, and honestly 2 pretty good ones. Next we'll bump off Young Justice Nightwing, Jesse McCartney Nightwing, who is going on to Flying Grayson. Yeah, I do love this Dick Grayson a lot. This is the Young Justice Dick Grayson. In Season 1, he used to be Robin. Dick Grayson was the baby of the bunch. He was the youngest member of the Teen Titans. Young Justice was a fascinating show for 2 seasons, then when it came back in a revival, it went downhill. But Jesse McCartney's Nightwing is a fan favorite character, and it's not hard to see why. He's very playful, very clever, very badass, actually has a deep amount of depth, and Nightwing has hacker abilities in this show. Jesse McCartney has like this really young sounding voice. He still sounds like a kid even though he's a grown adult. McCartney honestly gives Nightwing a lot of fun, a lot of joy, makes Nightwing kind of this playful superhero, the anti-Batman if you will. He starts out as Robin, and basically Robin realizes he doesn't want to be like Batman. He can't do what Bruce does. He doesn't want to become hard and cold, emotionless and ruthless, and Bruce actually supports him. Nightwing and Bruce have a very wholesome father-son bond in this. We get to see Bruce Greenwood as Batman again, and I do think he and McCartney have a very good chemistry. Batman helps Nightwing basically become a better man than he was. He wants to avenge the death of his parents. He does. Nightwing kind of grows up. It's his coming-of-age story in Young Justice. He becomes the team leader next to Aqualad. Aqualad is initially the team leader, but Dick Grayson starts coming into his own, starts showing that he actually is a capable leader, and it ends with Dick becoming the new leader come Season 2. So, unfortunately, a time skip happens after Season 1, where Dick Grayson became a older young adult, now Nightwing. Dick grew up, and now he is the leader of the Teen Titans. Dick helps the team basically foil an invasion plot plotted by the Reach. The Reach are secretly incognito taking over the Earth. He helps actually become kind of a big brother figure towards the other Titans. Nightwing, Miss Martian, and Superboy are the only OG team members who stayed behind. Nightwing hatches this crazy, insane Batman gambit to help lure out the Light, aka the Legion of Doom. They fake Artemis's death. Nightwing earns some enemies and some ire from his cohorts, realizes he's starting to become like Batman, but Nightwing's plan goes off without a hitch. He apologizes for being a bad leader and gives the reins back over to Aqualad. Unfortunately, by Season 3 and 4, the worst seasons of the show, Nightwing started getting phased out. In Season 3, he's still there, but he's clearly not the team leader anymore. Or he kind of is, but also isn't. They take Geoforce under their wing and Halo. They teach them to be better superheroes. Dick doesn't really get a whole lot to do in Season 3, and even less in Season 4. Season 4 sucks, and I do blame that on phasing out a lot of the good characters to keep introducing all these other characters and plot threads. I hate season 4 of Young Justice. I think it killed the show. It was so bad, so poorly paced, and concentrated on a lot of the wrong things. And unfortunately, Nightwing was one of them. He does not get to do a whole lot. Even when he has the spotlight in the final story arc, it's more about Superboy finally coming into his own and breaking free of General Zod's brainwashing. I do think Nightwing was pretty good, though, in the show, regardless of my feelings towards it. He was fun, he was playful, and actually had a really sweet, wholesome romance with Zatanna. Yeah, Zatanna was aged down to be a member of the Teen Titans, and I think she and Dick had a really touching and really hot chemistry together. But yeah, I'll put Jesse McCartney's Nightwing on Flying Grayson. And finally, let's end this with the high note. Arkhamverse Dick Grayson. Okay, shocker, another Arkhamverse character makes it to S tier. I will put him under Loren Lester's Nightwing. Yes, Dick Grayson is in the Arkhamverse. Not in the first Arkham Asylum game, but he shows up in Arkham City as DLC. Then he becomes an actual character by Arkham Shadows and Arkham Knight. Okay, this is Arkhamverse Nightwing. He's a DLC character in Arkham City. You get to play his challenge maps and stealth rooms as him. Honestly, he has a really neat design. I do love the look they gave him. Very fun, very playful. Doesn't get too many lines because he's kind of a silent character. This is completely changed in the future sequels. Dick Grayson is actually in Arkham Origins in the multiplayer. I'm not sure if the multiplayer still exists now. I remember playing it all the time. I did get every achievement, so I was very lucky for that. But yeah, Nightwing technically was also in Arkham Origins. Josh Keaton voiced him, and I thought he had a really good voice. But yeah, Robin is your co-op partner in the multiverse. Someone let me know if the Arkham Origins multiverse is still active. I heard they were like shutting down the servers, but some people were still able to play it. I played as it. Robin is just kind of your partner in that. He has some funny lines. Josh Keaton definitely had fun playing him, but yeah, really just a playable character in that one. It isn't until Arkham Knight and Arkham Shadow where Dick Grayson finally gets character. Oh, it's not? Thank you, Shadow. I know, it sucks. Yeah, it sucks. The Arkham Origins multiplayer used to be so fun. Even if it was, like, really wonky and had those weird controls, it was so fun. But yeah, that multiplayer's gone. Hey, Kat, after the events with Pinky and you saving the universe arc, are you planning another arc for your reviews? I'm thinking about it, just taking things slow and crossing off some things on the request pile right now. But yeah, it's kind of up in the air. Don't worry, you will see the characters again if that's what you're hoping for. Okay, so Arkham Knight, Nightwing actually does show up and has a speaking role, played by Scott Porter, who played Luke from the Telltale Walking Dead games. I thought he did a pretty good job. I do like Scott Porter's voice for Nightwing. He is in Arkham Knight, he helps save Batman, and is in the side mission tracking down the Penguin's guns. Penguin is dealing guns to all the gangs and supervillains on the streets, and Batman and Nightwing work together in a side quest to destroy all the weapon caches. And yeah, he is pretty fun. You get that fun tag team fight with Nightwing and Batman together for the first time in years, I believe. Nightwing's actually having fun, being very playful, and you actually get to interact with characters more. It's a pretty great side quest, not gonna lie. I do like the side quests. Unfortunately, the boss fight is the most disappointing aspect, but Nightwing himself, really cool. Mouths off towards the Penguin. Good news, Batman. I found the Penguin. He's right where we want him. And Penguin socks him. Cocky sod. Also, I'm glad Pinky is gone. She was annoying anyway. Yeah, everyone was glad to see that. Built her up just to have that satisfying death scene. It's pretty fun playing as Nightwing in City and Night, though I will admit he did have some tough Predator challenge in City. Yeah, Nightwing really sucks at the Predator maps. He is very hard to use, especially because Nightwing cannot glide. He is an acrobat. You have to jump and flip everywhere. He and Catwoman are kind of handicapped in the Predator rooms. it's very difficult to travel very far as them. Batman and Robin very easily can get around the Predator rooms and challenges. Nightwing and Catwoman cannot. Oh, never mind. I see it's Robin. Finally saw it, Wild Wolf Lover. Glad you like the arc, Monica. I really spent a lot of time on that. Very glad people enjoy it still. I was afraid people wouldn't like it, which is why it took so long for me to get the confidence to finish it. But yeah, Nightwing and Batman tag team the Penguin, take him down. This is really fun. The combat challenges are easily the fun as Nightwing. Predator maps, no, they suck as Nightwing because he can't glide or soar anywhere. But yeah, you take down the Penguin. He gets that Arkham episode. I thought the Arkham episode was okay. Could have been greater, but it's just a bunch of challenge maps tied together. I do like that Nightwing has some funny banter. Like, I'm afraid we can't help you, boss. Why not? 'Cause we just got our asses kicked. And he's like trolling Penguin all throughout. Oh, while you're in there, just turn off the lights. And like they shut off the lights in Penguin's elevator just to scare him. Nightwing does have a fun persona. But yeah, Nightwing foils the Penguin's escape attempt in these Arkham episode. The Arkham episode itself is okay. Not one of the best DLCs, but if you like more content, there you go. However, this would not be the end of Dick Grayson because he came back in the prequel Arkham Shadow. Yes, the VR game Arkham Shadow. Dick Grayson is here. He's one of the orphans who is a part of the Rats. The Rats are an activist group who want to tear down and swarm Gotham. They want to eat the rich, dethrone the corrupt politicians, raise hell in Gotham City and destroy it. You find out the first boss of the game, Shrike, this hired assassin who nearly kills Harvey Dent, is actually best friends with Dick Grayson. And Bruce talks with Dick Grayson, helps him get his life back on track, and Dick Grayson gives you some intel to help. You find out Shrike was actually a person. They humanize the villains a lot more in this game. I believe it's because, you know, it doesn't have that Arkham gameplay, but yeah, they humanize the villains. Dick Grayson has a redemption arc, going from this arrogant street punk, kind of like Terry McGinnis, honestly, into becoming Bruce's adopted son. In the bonus ending, you have to 100% the game in Arkham Shadow. You unlock a post-credit scene revealing that Dick Grayson has been adopted by Batman and is on the path to becoming Robin and eventually Nightwing. Dick Grayson undergoes a redemption arc in this game thanks to Bruce's influence. I know nothing about superheroes, to be honest. That's okay, Wild Wolf Lover. We're just here to have fun. But yeah, Dick Grayson is on the path to healing and becoming a badass Nightwing. And yeah, shocker, the Arkhamverse really knocks it out of the park with this character. This is actually a pretty fun interpretation of Nightwing. I do wish he got to do a lot more or had more story involvement, but yeah, as usual with the Arkhamverse, they got it right. They really got it right. Love the look, love the design, love the use of the character, and I do love that they gave him funny lines. He is once again a lighthearted comic relief, and here he actually fits because he doesn't destroy the tone of the video game. And he has a pretty great story. It is very satisfying seeing that Dick Grayson went from a troubled teenager trying to kill people into becoming one of the noblest superheroes of Gotham. And yeah, Arkhamverse Nightwing is a flying Grayson. Did anyone watch the FNAF 2 movie? I did not. I thought it was better than the first film. I never saw it, sorry. But yeah, that pretty much completes our tier list. We did it. We did all of them. I'll go over it one last time for any of you who skip click to the end, or for those of you who are late birds showing up late. But yeah, this is my ranking in full. Take a snapshot, trying to fit them all in. This is my ranking on all the Nightwing, and honestly had a pretty balanced tier list. Some very good and some very weak, and only 4 bad ones. Yeah, got our top 5 worst Dick Graysons down here. These are the bad dicks. These dicks won't satisfy. But yeah, this is my ranking in full. I'll go over it one last time for you people. At rock bottom in Bird Brain, who are the bad dicks, the bad, unsatisfying small dicks? Teen Titans Go, Robin. I know, shocking, this is easily the worst Dick Grayson. All these years later, he still sucks. Easily the rock bottom of Dick Graysons. Then, DC Superhero Girls Dick Grayson also sucks, a complete embarrassment to the name Dick. Then, Harley Quinn Nightwing. They humiliated this character on the show. I wish they at least gave him some moments to show that he was a competent hero or a funny guy, but no, he's just the butt monkey, and Harley Quinn disgraced him, going on to Bird Brain. And of course, Deadwing. Yeah, pretty pointless character in a really god-awful movie. It was kind of weird seeing him get that role from the comic, but yeah, he sucks too. These are the top 4 worst Robins ever. Then in Mehwing, Cape Crusader Robin, just a cameo. Brenton Thwaites' Dick Grayson from Titans. Yeah, disappointing take on the character. Titans is an awful show and you are not missing much. He is a disgrace to the Nightwing name. Nightwing from the Doom That Came to Gotham. He is a horror movie victim. He's there to be killed in a surprise death. That is all his character is. The street orphan Gotham by Gaslight Dick. Yeah, he's there to be a cute kid character who Batman redeems. He exists, and that's about it. Tomorrowverse Dick Grayson. He exists and is just a cameo in the Crisis finale. Didn't really do much. New 52 animated Dick Grayson. Yeah, he exists to be a punching bag. He has some funny moments and moments where you do like the character, but ultimately, he just exists to be beaten up by the villains or the monster of the week. Also a meh take on him. And Robin John Blake. Really messy character, and I kind of wish they didn't have this character in The Dark Knight Rises at all. No disrespect towards Joseph Levitt, he's a good actor, but this character just did not do anything for me. All of these are mediocre wings, the meh wings. Next in Who, sorry, I have not watched those black and white Batman serials. I do not know either of these Robins. And Batwheels Nightwing, never saw the show. I'm probably not going to because it's a very child-oriented show. But yeah, no idea who these Dick Graysons are. These are unknown dicks. Then in Batboy, who are our okay Robins? Dick Grayson from Justice League The New Frontier. It's a cameo. A very funny cameo, but just a cameo. Super Friends Robin. Yeah, he was fine. Just an extension of Burt Ward Robin. Scooby-Doo meets Batman and Robin Dick Grayson. Yeah, he was also funny. Batman was more so the highlight of this crossover, but seeing him there was definitely fun. And okay, Robin. Brave and the Bold Robin. Could have been one of the best characters of the show, but I feel like they didn't do enough with him, and I also do not like this outfit. He's going on to okay. Batman Ninja Nightwing. He's there and he has some cool fighting moments. That's about it. Gotham Knights Nightwing. The game was very mediocre. This is not a bad take on Nightwing, but a really undercooked one. Yeah, also going on to okay. These are all the adequate Nightwings. The satisfying dicks. But who are the grade A dicks? We have in Slick's sidekick, Will Friedel's Nightwing. Yeah, it's great just seeing Will Friedle voicing Dick Grayson. Pretty fun take on the character, and actually a competent badass because he bested the Cheetah, the Scarecrow, and the Penguin. Definitely a Slick sidekick. Chris O'Donnell's Dick Grayson. Yeah, he is so good in Batman Forever, but not on S tier because of Batman and Robin. Yeah, insert the Doug quote here, but I thought he was good in Batman Forever. He is down lower next to these Robins, but still pretty good. Lego Batman the Movie Dick Grayson. Yeah, he's funny. That's about it. Michael Cera definitely having fun as this version of Robin. Cute, funny, and very quirky. I'll put him on Slick's sidekick. The Batman Robin. Yeah, definitely an interesting take on the character. Really loved his debut season. Unfortunately, he kind of ended up neglected because he shows up very late in the series. Kind of why he lost a few points, but this was definitely a fun take on Robin. I would highly recommend watching The Batman, and they even made Robin one of the funnest characters. Neil Patrick Harris Nightwing. He's just Spider-Man. And he's a part of a good movie. I thought he was pretty passable, definitely fun, had his moments. Wish he was in it a little longer, but yeah, he was definitely a decent Nightwing. And Injustice Nightwing. Very awesome and very satisfying to beat up Damian Wayne. Definitely one of the fun characters to play as, but basically a fighting game character. I'll still put him on top of A tier. He is a slick sidekick. Hey, sorry I'm late. At least Go sucks. Yeah, Go's down here, James. With Titans, Dick Grayson above 1 level at least. Scott Pilgrim as Lego Robin. James, you're very late. We're wrapping up soon. But who are our S tier Flying Graysons? Who are the satisfying and greatest big dicks of all? Who is a Flying Grayson? Burt Ward, holy top tier Batman. Yep, love him. He's a classic. Of course he is going on to S tier. He's very charming, very endearing, very likable, and honestly, made Robin a household name. He is a Flying Grayson. Lego Nightwing. Was there really any doubt? The Lego games are so cool, and of course they even made Nightwing look cool in his redesign. Really love the Lego games. He's up top tier. Jesse McCartney's Young Justice Nightwing. I really like Jesse McCartney on this show. He was a great Dick Grayson. He was funny, he was endearing, he was adorable, he was badass, and he was fully capable of being the leader of the Titans. He is a Flying Grayson. Arkhamverse Dick Grayson. Yeah, is there really any doubt? Of course, they got the Bat Family sidekicks right too. He's fun to play as in combat challenges, has a fun side quest, and has a very intriguing backstory in Arkham Shadow. The Arkhamverse does it again. He is a Flying Grayson. DCAU Dick Grayson. Believe it or not, they redeemed this character. He was a very messy, mixed bag of a Robin, but when he became Nightwing, suddenly he became a fan favorite. They redeemed Lauren Lester as Dick Grayson, and his Nightwing, easily one of my favorite interpretations of the character. He is top tier, along with the Arkhamverse. He is a Flying Grayson, and the second best Dick. But who's our number one Dick? Teen Titans Robin. Yep, wasn't really any doubt. Teen Titans is a kick-ass show, and honestly, Scott Menville might be the definitive version of Robin. Teen Titans is great. So great that they got him back for the terrible Robin. But they did not disappoint. Dick Grayson is awesome in this show. He's cool, calm, collected, even funny at times, and undergoes some very serious character development. He is easily the number one Dick Grayson. What's next? A tier list full of assholes. Hey, James, glad you can make it. Sorry we're wrapping up right about now, but thank you all for joining us. Here's my ranking in full, if you can see it all here. Easily, number one Dick Grayson, Teen Titans, and appropriately, rock bottom Dick is Teen Titans Go Grayson. I hate that show. I still hate it to this day, and yeah, easily the worst Dick Grayson of all time. Ironic because Scott Menville played both of them. Tier list full of assholes, yeah, maybe. But thank you all for joining us. I'll start wrapping up now. What's next for the tier list? I still have Hazbin Hotel on the chopping block. I really want to do an updated version of that tier list. Might have to wait now because Christmas is coming up, but yeah, Hazbin Hotel is definitely an idea. I'm trying to find a good Penguin tier list. I might have to make one, but since I found this Dick tier list, it gave me hope to find another good one. Penguin is still in consideration for the winter season, but we got time. Hazbin Hotel is definitely one I do want to do. Next video, I do have a video up on Patreon right now. Go check it out. I did a Bossa Nova crossover up on Patreon. Wolf has something cooking up right now, but he wants to surprise you with it, so I won't reveal too much. But yeah, look forward to my Bossa Nova special if you're into my videos. Next tier list, likely Hazbin Hotel, but hey, anything's possible. Might even do another Power Rangers one since I did finish episodes. Wait, where's Robin from the Adam West series? Oh, James, he's right here. Burt Ward, he's in S tier, Flying Grayson. Right here, right at the end. Yeah, there he is. There's Adam West Robin. His name is Burt Ward, but that's what I called him as. Yeah, he's on S tier. Really liked him. He was iconic, okay? But yeah, thank you all for joining me. Really glad you love these tier lists, because Dick is the gift that keeps on giving. Sorry I had to, but thanks for watching. I'll set you guys free now. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, or just tune in for more videos posted here on Wolf Entertainment. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and I'll see you all later. Same cat time, same cat channel.